One Piece: The Legend of Creation, Chapter 321-340. 321 Shatter Space. It's not surprising. It can be said that hockey and devil fruit are inherently mutually reinforcing. The stronger a person's spirit and the tougher his mind, the stronger his hockey will be. The ability to suppress devil fruit is normal, Boa Hancock said suddenly, and her words were immediately recognized by everyone. After all, as long as Yibai from the Happy Pirates knows that Hancock is hockey's candidate in the entire Happy Pirates, even Lu Chengkong and Khalifa's hockey are both appointed by Boa Hancock, so Hancock can be said to be an authoritative representative in terms of hockey. In the Happy Pirates, Hancock is the only one who can equalize with Lu Chengkong on hockey. Even Angelina, the arrogant daughter of the sky, can only bow down to Hancock, who has the Emperor's color hockey and hockey's amazing cultivation. Of course, it can be said to be very significant. When will I be able to have such a hockey? Khalifa and Angelina looked at Lu Chengkong's figure like a demon emperor and thought to each other. Although the two women are both powerful beyond the four emperors, one of them is without the qualifications of the king, the other only has the conqueror, so the two girls really want to get the transformation to have the emperor's color hockey, especially Khalifa, knowing that the conqueror is born, not something that can be changed the day after tomorrow. But knowing that the emperor's color hockey is not only a person who has the qualifications of a king and has a conqueror, she can have it all the time. Although her current strength is also very strong, but she does not want to miss any chance to become stronger. After all, she does not want to be unable to help Lu Chengkong one day and only be protected by her. Hee, how can I not know what the two of you are thinking? But even though I have an emperor-colored hockey, this is really too mysterious. It can only be understood and cannot be expressed in words. I can't express it at all. You can rely on chance and understanding. Quote. Boa Hancock looked at the eagerness in the eyes of the two girls, and couldn't help showing a wry smile at the corners of her mouth. It can be said that Hancock now has an emperor-colored hockey, but many times when she thinks of the danger and horror of her transformation process, her mind still can't help but give a cold one. Trembling. For her, even death is not unfamiliar, not scary, not mysterious. Hancock can't help but shudder. By this can see how mysterious and difficult it is to get the emperor color. Oh, I'm a great swordsman who is really going back more and more. Is the peak of the great swordsman really the peak of the swordsman's end? It's really unpleasant. Juliana suddenly said. Her tone was full of unwillingness and bitterness, especially when she thought that she could only act as a spectator in the Battle of Gorosei, 5 Elders, which made her very unhappy. Once upon a time, she and Lu Chengkong fought together. She is not afraid of any danger, what she is afraid of is that she can't help herself. After all, she can be said to be one of the first few people who joined the Happy Pirates when they established each other. It is not an exaggeration to say that she is a veteran, but now she is a veteran who can only watch the few people who were still little devils fighting in front of her. Of course it's uncomfortable. Hawkeye Mahawk said with his eyes. Vivi's eyes flickered, and a trace of unwillingness flickered out. Obviously, it was the same in his heart. He said that he was the sharp edge of the Happy Pirates, but now he is one of the strongest swordsmen. Not following the pace of Lu Chengkong and others, he also did not make any progress after reaching the peak of the great swordsman, exactly the same as Juliana. It can be said that the strength of the Hawkeye Mahawk and Juliana at this time is not much worse than the red hair who has not broken their hands, but they are still as weak as ants in the face of the powers beyond the level of the 4 emperors. Of course, compared to others in terms of it is a stronger ant, and that's all. I don't know about this. I'm not a swordsman, but I think that one of the Gorosei, 5 elders was a swordsman. His strength is obviously beyond the peak of the great swordsman, so I think the great swordsman is strong. The peak is not the end of the swordsman. Portgas de Dana Lu frowned and said after a little thought. It's time to decide the winner. Just when Juliana was about to say something, Angelina suddenly said that she didn't give him a chance to speak, and as soon as Angelina said this, everyone's attention immediately shifted. In the past, sure enough, as Angelina said, the outcome is really going to be decided. Hee, I didn't expect my strongest defensive trick to be broken, but it's not enough. In the past few months, I have developed a more powerful trick. If you can follow, then I will admit defeat. After Whitebeard said that, he threw the scallop knife in his hand aside, and the invisible armament hockey suddenly covered his fists. At the same time, two white light balls that were several times larger than before were almost in armament hockey covered while appearing on the fist. Come on. Lu Chengkong didn't have the slightest timidity. It can be said that he knew from the beginning that Whitebeard would definitely lose. If nothing else, he still had demon transformation and mirror fusion that he didn't use, but now he had already suppressed Whitebeard. Although it seemed to outsiders to be evenly divided, Angelina and the others, who had the strength to surpass the four emperors, knew that Lu Chengkong had the upper hand. Shake the world, shake the emperor. Whitebeard roared, the blue veins on his face burst out, the fierce light in his eyes burst out, and he punched out, and the two originally huge white light balls on the hands at the same time actually merged into one. A sphere of light with a radius of more than 20 meters was formed. Click. In an instant, the sound of a series of glass shattering continued to sound, crisp and pleasant, but the red-haired and others who were watching on the side changed their faces greatly. They all knew that Whitebeard's ability to use the shaking fruit could even shatter space, but the plain laws of the One Piece King of Pirates world are very strong. When Whitebeard shattered the space was repaired by Bai Sheng. But this time was different. A large space in front of Whitebeard appeared crisscrossing cracks like spider webs, as if they would be completely shattered at any time. It's so strong. Lu Chengkong's expression changed, and he went straight to the first stage of demon transformation. Whitebeard's move was too powerful. If Whitebeard could use this move in the Gorosei, Five Elders battle, he didn't need a secret technique at all. Enough to kill any of the Gorosei, Five Elders. 322 lost to Whitebeard. No, when did Whitebeard become so powerful? It's only been a long time and half a year. The space that was shattered can't be repaired. How much power does it take? Kizaru shouted in disbelief. His face was flustered. He had not seen the space shattered, but it was repaired in an instant. But the current Whitebeard has made the space so terrible. Monster. Kuzan's eyes widened. His expression was not much better than Kizaru's, but he didn't speak as much as Kizaru, but the two words he said were recognized by most of the people present. Whitebeard, is this the strongest attack of your shock fruit, the strongest profound meaning? After Lu Chengkong's transformation, the violent whiteness on his body became more and more obvious and thicker, and his voice was also unconsciously. It became more and more cold, like the cold wind of the Arctic, which made people feel cold when they heard it. That's right, this is the most profound meaning of Lao Tzu's Junjun fruit, an absolute attack. Whitebeard's face turned pale. Obviously this move was very expensive. Come, without being indecent, since this is the strongest trick of your Junjun fruit, then I can't hide my clumsiness. My mirror fruit has two strongest mystical abilities, one is mirror fusion, and the second is me too. In the recent meeting, I will let you see it today, mirroring the profound meaning, mirroring the world. There was a flash of silver light on Lu Chengkong's body, obviously not dazzling, but everyone closed their eyes in vain, but they opened them instantly, but when they opened their eyes and looked again, they opened their mouths in surprise. The wide open mouth can completely put down an ostrich egg. What is this? An idea popped up in everyone's minds. Lu Chengkong's people didn't know where they went, but where he was standing just now, there was an oval mirror with a radius of about 1 meter. It didn't look like much. But when everyone looks at this mirror, they have a feeling of being all-encompassing and illuminating the entire space. What kind of attack is this? Forget it, you'll know when you hit it, take it. Whitebeard felt the same way. This ability is too weird, and in the hearts of many people, Lu Chengkong's mirror fruit is too weird. With such an idea, Whitebeard immediately punched the mirror with both fists. Although Lu Chengkong's person was gone, his intuition told him that facing the mirror was Lu Chengkong. As this shock wave rushes forward, the space it passes through vibrates one after another. After the film arrives, it cracks open. It seems that if the strength is stronger, the space will be shattered. Facing such a powerful attack by Whitebeard, Kuzan and the others didn't have high expectations for Lu Chengkong's ability to stop him. Only the two daughters Khalifa and Boa Hancock, who knew Lu Chengkong best, knew this move. Horrible. A dazzling light suddenly flashed from the mirror that had been silent for a while, and the apparently small mirror suddenly reflected Whitebeard's appearance and the shock waves that came upon his face. A frightening scene finally appeared. I saw the shock wave that was rushing to the mirror seem to be entangled by something after reflecting Whitebeard's appearance on the mirror, and he could no longer go a step. Give it back to you, Whitebeard. Lu Chengkong's voice suddenly came from all directions, making it impossible to tell where he was. As his voice fell, the shock wave in front of him was directly reversed under the influence of some strange energy. Come and shoot Whitebeard in the opposite direction. How is that possible? Whitebeard's face changed greatly. If Lu Chengkong summoned a mirror image clone and used ability fusion to obtain his ability to attack him, he would not do this, but now this scene is too strange. He can see it clearly. The reflected attack was unleashed by himself. But at this time, he was no longer allowed to think too much. As the one who released Junwang, he knew how powerful he was. His body instinctively sensed the danger. The extra thoughts in his mind disappeared immediately, and there was only one word left, that is flash. It's a pity that just when Whitebeard was about to dodge or resist, he suddenly found that he had lost control of all parts of his body except his brain, and he couldn't even turn his eyes, so he could only watch his attack take him completely. People devoured. Dad! The eyes of the Whitebeard pirates suddenly turned red. If it wasn't for a domineering and fierce emperor-colored haki that pressed them all down, it would be impossible for them to rush out to find Lu Chengkong. That guy Whitebeard isn't dead, is he? Garp stared at the front in a stunned manner, and it took a long time to spit out such a sentence. Why doesn't he dodge? It's weird to be motionless. Kuzan wondered. It's not that he doesn't want to hide. I think his body is affected or restrained in some way, so he can't move. It should be caused by the mirror. The most experienced Sengoku flashed a gleam of wisdom in his eyes. He really deserved to be Marshal Marine. Although he couldn't keep up with his strength, he had enough experience to see the real reason at a glance. As expected of Sengoku the Buddha, the title of the resourceful general really doesn't come for nothing. Lu Chengkong's disappearing figure reappeared in everyone's sight at some point, standing in that terrifying mirror behind. Okay, the beginning of the battle means death. You have been pirates for so long, can you still see such a simple truth? You want to take revenge on me, do you have the strength? To put it horribly, I want to kill you. You can kill all of you in 10 strokes. Lu Chengkong looked at himself with red eyes and hatred, and the members of the Whitebeard pirates who wanted to eat him. Only Sengoku and Garp with red hair were the most calm, because they knew that Whitebeard would not be so easy to kill, or Lu Chengkong won't kill Whitebeard. Sure enough, a sinister smile appeared on Lu Chengkong's mouth, and the conversation changed. What's more, you didn't make sense to kill me, your father is not dead yet. As soon as these words came out, the Whitebeard pirates froze. When they came back to their senses and were about to say something, the mirror in front of Lu Chengkong suddenly flashed a ray of light. At the same time, Whitebeard, who disappeared at the same time, suddenly appeared. Only Whitebeard now looked like a beggar. There was absolutely no high-spiritedness at the beginning, very embarrassed, but all this is no longer important to the members of the Whitebeard pirates. The most important thing is that Whitebeard can survive. 323 The ability to make people fear. Bah, bah, bah. Whitebeard spat out a few mouthfuls, and after a few seconds he looked at Lu Chengkong with eyes full of resentment, only to see Lu Chengkong's scalp tingling for a while. What kind of moves are you doing? It's so terrifying, I really thought I was dead. Whitebeard said with lingering fears, and the picture returned to when Whitebeard was swallowed by his own shock wave. Originally, Whitebeard was going to die in his own attack. Even if he didn't die, it was almost the same. However, the chance of death was a little higher. At that moment, Lu Chengkong used the ability of the time fruit to pause the time for 1 second, and then at that second the ability to use the space fruit in it will transfer Whitebeard to the disaster island. Whitebeard, who had just been transferred by space, was bombarded by all kinds of weather disasters and sea disasters before he had time to understand what was going on. If it wasn't for his strong physique and amazing strength, he would face him in the moment of loss. Attacked by various weather disasters without dying and shedding a layer of skin, but even so he was disgraced. I can't die. Lu Chengkong Ha Isho. He is also using this ability for the first time. It is indeed terrible. If the mirror fusion is a very powerful attack ability, it can make one's strength improve a lot and become very powerful, then the mirror just now turning the world as the most terrifying attack ability. To be precise, it is a combination of offense and defense that can play a very terrifying attack while absolutely defending. As long as the person who is illuminated by the mirror will be unable to move, and then the opponent's attack will be completely bounced back to attack the person who is illuminated by the mirror. Chen Fei's strength was stronger than Lu Chengkong's, and he forced himself to break free, but even so, as long as his strength was not so disparate, it would be very difficult to break free. It's enough to tell the difference between life and death, so the ability of this move is very terrifying, you can see from Whitebeard's appearance. Lu Chengkong was right. Mirror fusion and mirror turning heaven and earth are the two strongest mystical abilities of mirror fruit, and the power of the effect is simply appalling. Cut, it doesn't hurt to stand and talk. Whitebeard stood up angrily. In fact, he didn't suffer much damage, that is, he was consumed too much, and he was transferred to disaster by Lu Chengkong's use of space transfer. For a moment, Shima was in a trance and was slightly injured before he could defend himself. With Whitebeard's constitution, he can fully recover in a few days. After all, the vitality of Giant Yijing is very terrifying, let alone the royal white giant among giants. Even those lizard snails in Dragon Island can't compare to Whitebeard. Vigorous vitality and strong resilience. Of course, I just know that standing and talking won't hurt my back, so I'm standing. You see, your back hurts when you sit and talk. Lu Chengkong was completely angry with Whitebeard on purpose, and directly misinterpreted the meaning of this sentence, as if he didn't know the meaning of this sentence is similar. Stop talking nonsense with you. Well, I lost to you. Laugh tail will go behind. To be honest, I am also very curious about what is in it. When Whitebeard said this, a trace of curiosity flashed in his eyes. The curiosity of people who speak the truth can often kill people, but Whitebeard has been stationed in the waters not far from Laugh Tail for so many years, but it is really amazing to hold back his curiosity. You don't know that you are here every day. How can I know? That old boy really should know it. Forget it, just sail over to see it, and now you don't need to guard here, let's see together look. Okay. Whitebeard nodded, and just as the two were about to return to their pirate ship to head towards Laugh Tail, Lu Chengkong's face changed suddenly, and he suddenly punched behind him without saying a word. Like thunder and lightning, the powerful impact burst into the air with a terrifying strong wind. It's just that such a powerful punch was actually received, and Whitebeard also reacted at this time, saying it was too late, although he said so much, but in fact, only 1 second passed and not enough time. Whitebeard's reaction was only a little slower than Lu Chengkong's, but this time can be divided between life and death in the battle of life and death. Who? Whitebeard glared angrily. He wasn't a fool. He could hide it. Otherwise, what he found was obviously stronger than himself, or at least not worse than himself. Khalifa and the other women obviously noticed the change here. Khalifa and Hancock exchanged glances, and the lotus steps moved slightly. The two had disappeared from where they were standing, and came to Lu Chengkong's side almost at the same time. One left and one right. Gorosei, 5 elders, Alkiba. Lu Chengkong was not surprised when he saw who was coming. After all, in his opinion, Gorosei, 5 elders would come to seek revenge one day, but it just made him feel strange. Why was there only one person here? But when he noticed the aura on Alkiba's body, his eyes flickered. A look of comprehension suddenly appeared on his face, as if he had understood something. Don't forget that Lu Chengkong is a mirror image clone that can summon Alkiba and knows the effect of the Fruit of Death, so he has already guessed Archie at this moment. Changes in Ba. Long time no see, Lu Chengkong. Alkiba smiled sullenly, the breath of death constantly emitting from him. How could this be? The strength has increased so much, Whitebeard exclaimed. His eyes almost didn't come out. Alchiba standing in front of him gave him a very terrifying feeling, as if he saw that his death would come at any time. This feeling is like facing Alkiba for the first time when he was young. Obviously, Alkiba's strength has surpassed the current Whitebeard, and it is much more. If I guessed correctly, you should have swallowed up the souls of several of your companions. Disgust flashed across Lu Chengkong's eyes. This kind of companion who has been in friendship for more than 800 years can actually do it. The most annoying, and at the same time, a terrifying murderous intention emerged in the heart of Alchiba. 324 Blackbeard is dead. Gia, I didn't expect you to be able to guess. Oh, I remembered, you can summon my mirror image and use my abilities so you know it. Alchiba was stunned for a moment, but he soon understood, but he didn't care about it. The rapid expansion of his strength made him think that Lu Chengkong was just a dead person to him now. Obviously, this forced promotion the method of strength also has great sequelae, at least the disposition of the heart can't keep up, so that Alchiba has long lost the wisdom and calmness of the past, but has a cold and arrogant arrogance. He can actually do it. Rayleigh's face didn't look much better. What he hated most in his life was betrayal, especially the kind of people who attacked his companions. If it wasn't for his reason to tell him to rush over now if he was courting death and would become a burden, he would have rushed over and killed Alchiba. It's really disgusting. The expression on the face of the red-haired Wux was not much better than that of Rayleigh, while Garp, who was Marine, and others felt that their faces were dull. The world government has such a supreme ruler. Heart-wrenching, although they are no longer Marine, but after all, they once fought for Marine, especially Sengoku, who gave his whole life of youth, but felt very sad. What's going on? What's wrong with everyone? Luffy, who was stubborn, didn't know what was going on. Fortunately, Sanji whispered a few words in his ear, and Luffy's expression changed again. There was no giggling before, instead he became very serious, and there was a flash of murderous intent in his eyes. Obviously, Akuma's actions deeply touched Luffy's bottom line. Fortunately, Luffy was very rational in this state, and he didn't rush over innocently, which also relieved Rayleigh, who was secretly paying attention to him. After all, he was really worried that this disciple, who was very satisfied with him, became a hero again. He's so weird. Angelina's wild but alluring eyes stared at Alkiba for a while, before spitting out a puzzling sentence. What do you mean? Vivi asked curiously. She could be said to be the only non-combat member on the ship, but everyone didn't look down on her, because Vivi also had her own profession. Although his strength has increased a lot, it is obviously forcibly increased, and the side effects are very large, not only for the body, but also for the soul. No matter what, he will not live long, and he will die soon. It's a pity that he was a fan of the authorities and didn't realize his state at all. Angelina's tone couldn't help being a little mocking, and it was the dignified Gorosei, 5 elders who ruled the world government for more than 800 years, and they would fall into this field. Sure enough, it's better not to have a power that doesn't belong to you, and a power that you can't control perfectly. It will not only harm others, but also yourself. Kuina sighed a little for a while. To be honest, she felt that her pressure was not ordinary. There are too many people who are stronger than her, and almost every woman has a skill. I'm relieved if you think so. Juliana touched her precious daughter's head lovingly. Obviously she was worried that Kuina couldn't bear the pressure and moved her heart crookedly. Now hearing Kuina's words, she looked at her with the same stubbornness and pride as myself. I can't help but feel relieved. What? Look down, forget it, I'm too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Today I will wipe out all of you, and all those who oppose me will die. Didn't you get a happy branch to replace the marine branch to rule everywhere? It's a pity it's going to change hands soon. Alkiba looked at Lu Chengkong with the undisguised contempt and disgust in his eyes. He couldn't control his mood and emotions, and his heart immediately became hot. When he said that in the end, he actually took the shot first. Like two cannonballs, it blasted towards Lu Chengkong. At the same time, Alkiba looked at Whitebeard with strange eyes, which made Whitebeard feel a little nervous. Whitebeard, I have prepared a good opponent for you, come out. Whitebeard looked at the past labor in the direction Alkiba's finger was pointing. After a few seconds, a fat man appeared 300 meters ahead of Whitebeard, and he even lost a few teeth. Teach. Whitebeard's face suddenly became extremely gloomy. In the original book, Whitebeard finally kept his hand and did not kill Blackbeard. Otherwise, no matter how weak Whitebeard was, his dying blow would be very terrifying and could completely kill Blackbeard. Dad, let me come. Ace's voice suddenly sounded behind Whitebeard's back when he was about to shoot. Ace's body had changed a lot in more than 2 years. The previous one was hidden. His arrogance has been polished away, and replaced by a capable and calm one. He is indeed the son of One Piece, King of Pirates. There has been a qualitative change in the strength of Ace in the actual combat. Originally, Ace's strength was comparable to Crocodile, but now he has clearly surpassed Kuroketa by a lot, and he has a combat power that is infinitely close to the Admiral level. Still not enough. Haha, is it Roger's son? The strength is really bad. He is a little stronger than 2 years ago. It's a pity that the Blackbeard I cultivated is not something you can defeat. Ace, who still had time to look at it, looked at Ace disdainfully and said. It's not unreasonable for him to say so. At this time, Blackbeard's eyes are so empty. He hasn't said a word since he appeared. This is obviously not his character, and if you look carefully, you will find that Blackbeard has something on his body. Intense death. Blackbeard is dead. As the natural enemy of darkness and death, or the light of mutual growth and restraint, Khalifa saw Blackbeard's true condition at a glance. What? Ace's face changed. Originally, he planned to be ashamed. Because Blackbeard is dead, ordinary people can't see his strength. For more than 2 years, Ace thought that he had already had won the strength of the former shame, but now it seems that it is not what he thought. I have a good eye. Blackbeard's strength is originally Admiral level. After eating the dark fruit, he reached the peak of Admiral. I met him 2 years ago and controlled him. With the ability of the Fruit of Death, Blackbeard absorbed countless death. Chi, and with the dark fruit, the death energy he can bear is even more amazing, and it can even be said to be second only to me, the spokesperson of death, so his strength is not his opponent even if the Jingfa over there, the kid wants to die. Just go up. 325 Thunder vs. Darkness. Ace, there are people outside the world and there are gods. A strong person can't be formed just by working hard for a year or two, not to mention that you have wasted too much time. Whitebeard sighed. He was very satisfied with Ace's aptitude, which was on a par with Luffy's, but it was a pity that Ace wasted too much time, and he couldn't catch up in a year or two. Since he's dead, the grievances of the past should be gone. No matter what, he used to be Lao Tzu's son, so let him go to earth when he dies. Whitebeard said that his right fist condensed a white ball of light. Obviously he was planning to do it himself, but unfortunately there was someone faster than him this time. Haha, it's been a long time, I finally met a good opponent, don't fight with this god this time. Enel's wild smile suddenly sounded, and at the same time, a thick lightning flashed past Whitebeard like a laser. Shoot directly at Blackbeard. Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit. A powerful ability, but the dark fruit is not so easy to deal with. Whitebeard hesitated, and finally stopped, mainly because Enel had already fought Blackbeard. Stand up. That god fights with her husband's avatar every day, not to mention the secret fruit. He has also faced the fruit of nothingness, and it is not so easy to defeat. Khalifa loosened the rosin shoulder and did not say anything, but looked at the fighter. Lu Chengkong and Alkiba were both in the dark. 100 million volts tilde discharge. Enel doesn't care so much, he has been holding back for a long time, and the strength gap between Lu Chengkong is too big, and Blackbeard is obviously a very good opponent, with strong fruit ability and strength, and he can let him let go of everything. Bound with full force without any scruples. Dark tunnel. Blackbeard's voice was very empty and without a trace of emotion. It was like a walking dead, but it was extremely ruthless when he started. The black vortex directly absorbed Enel's lightning, and at the same time, he planned to use dark water with his left hand facing Enel. Pity that Enel is not Ace who fought Blackbeard's holy war in the original book. Enel's observation hockey has become more perverted in this candidate year. Predicting Blackbeard's attack is simply very simple, long before Blackbeard started. It was already foreseen, and it turned into lightning and disappeared in advance, making Blackbeard unable to aim. Sure enough, his speed can't keep up with my speed, and he can't even use the dark water that sucked him over if he can't catch my figure. Hee, I'm not that hairy boy over there. Enel curled his lips, sneered, his hands held high. Bang! The originally clear sky suddenly became dark, and it can be said that the sky was covered with dark clouds in the blink of an eye, and every now and then there would be thunderous rumblings that were deafening, as if nature was angry. Let's taste the Lei Ying of this god. Enel did not know when it appeared on the top of Blackbeard's head. Lei Ying had been released before Blackbeard used the dark water. With Enel's current strength, using Lei Ying is not only unnecessary, the cooperation of the main boat, and the release speed and power are simply not comparable to the original. Destroy the Sky Island directly bombarded the center of Blackbeard with its teeth and claws like a thunder dragon. Blackbeard, who could not be elementalized, was really in trouble. Enel's attacks were not those of Ace. I don't know how fire can compare. Damn, Ace gritted his teeth and watched Enel beat Blackbeard. He was once in Blackbeard's hands, but he wanted to be ashamed all the time. More importantly, Blackbeard almost killed the entire Whitebeard. There is also Whitebeard in the pirate group. He hates Blackbeard to the core. It's a pity that he should have been high-spirited when we met again, but the reality is cruel. The huge gap in strength makes Ace unable to face Blackbeard. Meteor volcano. Except for Lu Changkong, no one noticed a wicked smile flashing at the corner of Alkiba's mouth. Sure enough, Enel's Blackbeard, who was struck by a thunderbolt, suddenly turned into lava with his hands. Lei Ying, who was about to devour Blackbeard, shot countless huge magma fists, with power and proficiency far exceeding that of Akainu. Akainu's fruit power. Akainu seems to be really dead. Blackbeard is so lucky to have found Akainu's fruit power. Now even Sengoku couldn't see the real situation. No, Blackbeard didn't eat Akainu's fruit ability, but grabbed Akainu's fruit ability. Portgas D. Dana shook his head and denied Sengoku's words, while explaining a little about the ability of dark fruit. Sengoku, Kuzan and others suddenly realized, I secretly said in my heart that none of the top 10 Logia fruit abilities are simple, even the dark fruit at the bottom should not be underestimated. Unstoppable. Enel's Thunderbolt is not something that Akainu's Meteor Volcano can resist. Now Enel's Thunderbolt is no longer a pure devil fruit ability. Every Thunderbolt has the imprint of nature, and its power is amazing. Juliana shook her head, with a hint of mockery in her tone, as if mocking Akainu's fruit ability. In fact, this is also true. After Lu Chengkong mentioned the characteristics and abilities of magma fruit before, Gulena looked down on this fruit, and Akainu's personality made her even more unhappy, even with the fruit ability. All he needs is time. Hawkeye Mahawk glanced at Blackbeard. Sure enough, as soon as his words came out, Blackbeard seemed to confirm Hawkeye's words. At the moment when Lei Ying paused in the sky, Blackbeard's right hand Dajong, the dark energy was released as if he didn't need money to form a big black ball. At the same time, Lei Ying had already defeated Meteor Volcano, and slammed into the Blackbeard's big black ball with unabated force. Haha, it's useless. Although Blackbeard just got magma fruit, no matter how powerful it is, Guro no Mi, rumble fruit alone can't break the devourer of darkness. Alchiba said disdainfully. It's better not to be distracted during the battle. Lu Chengkong said indifferently, he had already discovered the strength of Alkiba in a short period of time. One word is strong, even if he uses the second stage of demon transformation now, it is only a matter of time. He can only hold on for a while. If he continues like this, he believes that he will be defeated in a short time. This is because Alkiba wants to play Lu Chengkong and does not make a ruthless attack. Otherwise, he may have been injured or even defeated. Oh, if you have anything else, just use it. I remember that you seem to have some kind of mirror fusion. Use it, otherwise, you will die. Alkiba automatically filtered Lu Chengkong's words. As always, Wild laughed. 326 Enel opportunities. This move is. Ace's face became extremely ugly in an instant, his eyes widened, staring at the huge black ball in Blackbeard's hand. He couldn't help but see the scene of his confrontation with Blackbeard a few years ago. He used Dai Enkai, Entei and Blackbeard to fight against each other, but he lost in the end. He remembers this move, still new. Thunderbolt will be absorbed. Although he didn't want to admit it, Ace, who had faced this move, could only tell the truth. Not necessarily. This time, Whitebeard surprisingly gave Ace the opposite answer, without looking at Ace's surprised and disbelieving eyes. Is my Lei Ying so easy to absorb? You can absorb the power of the devil fruit. What if it is the lightning of the real nature? What about the lightning without a trace of devil fruit energy? Enel said here that his eyes flashed with crazy light, his height suddenly changed, and he instantly turned into a giant servant with a height of more than 10 meters. Thor tilde summons thunder. Enel roared. This move is different from his 200 million volts tilde Thor. In addition to the change in his appearance as Thor, there is also the effect, because after Enel became Thor instead of attacking Blackbeard following Lei Ying, he first released a thunderbolt from the sky. After a long rumbling, the already cloudy sky became even darker now, as if even the sun was covered. Taste the most powerful meaning of this god, Thor's wrath. The continuous thunderous sounds continued to sound, and the terrifying power descended on everyone like the power of the sky. At this moment, those who couldn't keep up with the strength even thought that the god was true. The anger came and came. What is this? As a sniper, the sharp-eyed Usopp keenly captured the dark clouds in the sky as if they were bred with terrifying energy. It's nothing, this is Enel's use of its own lightning energy as an introduction to change the natural climate and weather, to create lightning that belongs to the laws of nature, genuine lightning. Angelina is worthy of being Angelina. The mystery is seen through his. Garp and the others suddenly changed their faces when they heard the words, and they gasped. Don't think this is a simple matter. They have never seen anyone who can truly control nature, or even borrow the power of nature. There are very few people. The so-called Logia fruit has always used the energy of the devil fruit. Enel's lightning is not the real lightning of nature, although the effect of hitting the enemy and the effect of real lightning have no effect. Different, but in some cases there is a big difference. As it is now, Blackbeard's dark fruit can attract even Enel's powerful Lei Ying, obviously telling Enel that as long as it is the energy of the fruit, that is, as long as it is the energy of Guro Guro no Mi Rumble Rumble fruit, as long as the limit of the dark fruit is not reached, he can absorb it. And now Blackbeard is obviously stronger than Enel. It is obviously impossible for Enel to increase the power of lightning beyond the limit of the dark fruit, so that Blackbeard cannot absorb it, so Enel can only use himself at this time. The most powerful secret trick, borrowing the power of nature, releases endless thunder and lightning, and the power is theoretically endless. I see how you can absorb it. Enel was furious this time. His roar just came out. The thundercloud covering an extremely huge area in the sky seemed to have bred terrifying thunder and lightning. The thundercloud overhead released a bolt of lightning. Click. An unbelievable scene appeared. As Enel's thunder and lightning hit the thunderclouds in the sky, the dark clouds in the sky seemed to be attracted by some kind of attraction, and the extremely terrifying natural thunder and lightning all hit Enel. This guy is crazy, so much energy is enough to destroy a country. He absorbed it, does he want to die? Sengoku and Kizaru exclaimed. If it weren't for this, he would not be able to control this energy of nature at all. As long as he uses himself as an introduction, he can use this energy for his own use to achieve the purpose he needs. Forced to burst, but after all, he is the ability of Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, the Thunderbolt Man. The endurance of thunder and lightning is not comparable and imagined by us. So this time, he will not only improve his strength, but even his own thunder and lightning will undergo qualitative changes, becoming like the thunder and lightning of nature, and Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, will also undergo qualitative changes. Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, will be promoted to the position of the top 10 Logia fruits. Not to mention Blackbeard can't absorb it. Even if I have the same strength, I will take it seriously. Angelina pondered for a while, and said after pondering for a while. So Enel Brat may be a blessing in disguise, Gulena said. Yes, of course the prerequisite is that he can survive. No one can help him now. Everything depends on his own fortune. Angelina nodded, agreeing with Gulena's words. Get out of nowhere. Lu Chengkong knew what he was going to do when he saw the madness in Enel's eyes, but he didn't stop it. He knew that the arrogant Enel would not look back once he made up his mind, so he could only silently bless him, but at this time he doesn't have time to take care of so much. No matter whether Enel can survive or not, after this energy of nature is released, any creature within a radius of 100 miles or even 1,000 miles will be wiped out, and must leave here. If you want to go, stay with me. Alkiba was very calm, although Enel's performance surprised him, and the lightning energy that was continuously instilled into Enel should be taken seriously even by him, but he did not think that he will be killed by this energy, but he intends to use this energy to affect Lu Chengkong's crew and let them die in the hands of his own crew's tricks. As soon as the idea appeared, Alkiba immediately took action. The mirror images merged. Get out of my way. Lu Chengkong sneered. 3 mirror images immediately appeared in a mysterious formation and directly transformed into a ray of light and merged into Lu Chengkong's body. Brush. In an instant, Lu Chengkong completed the mirror fusion, and the whole changed greatly. The 2 pairs of demon wings and the demon scales on his body disappeared, turning into a pair of silver-black demon wings that looked very much like fallen angels. A crystal depicting a mysterious array appeared, and at the same time, a pair of dark eyes that flickered with palpitations from time to time had turned silver-black. Devil Profound Truth, Demon Order. Lu Chengkong's strength in the mirror fusion state changed qualitatively in an instant, causing the originally heartless Alkiba's complexion to change suddenly, but it was too late to resist. Lu Chengkong in the state of mirror fusion, it can use the fruit ability of 3 body mirror images. 327 God's Wrath. Therefore, when Alkiba was just about to react and plan to avoid the ferocious demon order, Lu Chengkong immediately resorted to time suspension and space blockade. Under the joint blockade of space and time, Lu Chengkong was even stronger than Alkiba at this time. To have a slightly better strength, Alkiba couldn't escape and was directly bombarded into the ground by the demon order. Space Portal. Lu Chengkong was not chasing after Alkiba, but summoned a space gate and shouted at the same time, "Come in." He took the lead and rushed in with Khalifa and Hancock in his arms. At the same time, the 3 boats of the Happy Pirates group were also kicked in by Lu Chengkong. Whitebeard also rushed in without any directness. Garp and others seemed to understand. What is the matter? He rushed in without saying a word, and in the blink of an eye, the 3 pirate groups in this sea area had disappeared. Enel, who had no scruples in his eyes with blue veins, and a black beard like a fool, and of course, Alkiba, who was blasted and overjoyed. Thank you, Captain. Of course Enel understands what Lu Chengkong is doing. Just now, he was worried that if he fails unfortunately, it will affect the people of the Free Pirates. After joining the Free Pirates for so long, he is not interested in any of the Free Pirates. People are very concerned, although the nostrils are turned up on the surface, but if anyone dares to think about anyone in the Happy Pirates, Enel will definitely send his whole family to hell. Death to this god. Enel let go of all worries, only one thought in his heart, that is, if you don't succeed, you will become a benevolent person. Bang! Lu Chengkong and the others had just left the front foot, but there was a huge thunderous sound like dozens of atomic bombs exploding together in this sea area. At this moment, they have come to the sea about 3,000 nautical miles away from the sea area just now. A dozen boats and of course a bike. It's exaggerated. Enel is crazy enough. I hope he can survive. Lu Chengkong looked ahead. Even though he was so far apart, he could still hear the deafening thunder clearly, as if it sounded in his ear. He looked at the huge incomparable lightning beam in front of him and said, "Wow, I will say 88 to this beautiful world ahead of time." Garp, Sengoku and others said with lingering fears, especially when they looked at the huge thunder and lightning beams that could be seen from so far away. After a bit of panic, after all, the power of nature is really terrible, especially the nature of the One Piece King of Pirates world is not comparable to the Earth. It's really God's wrath. This guy doesn't seem to be stupid and arrogant. The situation in the world has changed. The only person who can make this God safe and secure is this demon emperor. Kuzan glanced at the situation ahead, the heaven and the earth, and then took another look at the silent eyes. The eyes were as plain as water. Lu Chengkong, who was not in the ancient well, thought to himself. He fought with Enel back then, but at that time Enel had to join forces with Juliana and others to barely remain unbeaten in Kuzan's hands, but he didn't expect Enel to have grown to this point after so many years. It's not that Kuzan didn't pay attention. He didn't pay attention to this, but everyone including Kuzan was attracted by Lu Chengkong's light. Lu Chengkong's light covered the people in the boat, causing Lu Chengkong's enemies and friends to subconsciously ignore his crew. The presence. Shanggong, can you survive with long ears? Shirahoshi took small steps to Lu Chengkong's side, and said in an ethereal, crisp and melodious noise like a yellow warbler out of the valley. He won't die so easily, and even if he dies, I will bring him back to life even if I control the land. Lu Chengkong's eyes flickered. His tone was flat, but the firmness in his words made him awe-inspiring. A captain is the greatest blessing for any pirate group. The era of Gorosei, 5 elders has passed. Since the world government and marine have all died out, then they have no value in existence, not to mention that the 5 have gone and 4 have gone, so it is time for Al-Kiba to accompany them. Otherwise the 4 of them will be alone. Lu Chengkong's figure flashed and disappeared from everyone's sight in an instant, leaving only one sentence, "Wait for me to come back." It seems that the new era has been completely stabilized. The protagonist of this era must be him. With his character, he will never condone the appearance of scum like Tenryubito Marine. Garp's eyes were very complicated, and he couldn't bear it in the end. Zhu sighed, as did Kuzan and the others who were once a member of Marine. "Where did you go?" Lu Chengkong closed his eyes. An indescribable feeling appeared in his heart. He only felt that any place within a few kilometers was like an image appearing in his mind. Middle. Okay, stop pretending, show up. After a while, Lu Chengkong opened his eyes again. The corner of his mouth was vivi-colored, showing that his master was in a very happy mood. "I really can't hide anything from you." Enel's voice suddenly appeared. A flash of lightning flashed, and Enel had already appeared beside Lu Chengkong. "Hee, if you lied to me, I would come out and mess with you, huh? It seems that Angelina is right. Guro no Mi, Rumble fruit, has undergone a qualitative change, and in your hands it will be powerful. You can already match the power of the top 10 Logia fruits. I think your name can also be remembered in history. There are very few people who can increase the power of the devil fruit to be comparable to the top 10 Logia fruits." Lu Chengkong looked at Enel up and down, and couldn't help but be overjoyed. Enel's strength was no worse than that of Whitebeard, who was old and covered in dark wounds in the original book, or even worse. "Che, you and the Empress are not pressing the gods, aren't you both, Paramesha? The fruit's ability is so strange that Angelina has to deal with it." Enel made a cut and said unhappily, but he was not talking nonsense. He was influenced by Lu Chengkong, and sweet fruit was the most suitable fruit for Hancock. It can be said that the fruit ability was born for Hancock. The power of sweet fruit is too terrifying. Enel can be said to be not afraid of heaven and earth, but the only thing he is afraid of is Lu Chengkong and Hancock. 328 The Last Gorosei, 5 Elders. "Where's Blackbeard? Dead?" Lu Chengkong smiled and didn't bother about this topic. After all, there's nothing to say. Devil fruits without garbage only use garbage. This sentence is not entirely true, and it is also 80% correct. Even Lu Chengkong had to write a word for Hancock's use in development of sweet fruit. It would be really strange if the fat man who lost many teeth could survive in my hands. Nilu said with certainty, and only in front of Lu Chengkong, a arrogant god, would not take this god claims to be himself, but uses me to claim himself. In that case, he is the only one left. Lu Chengkong's eyes suddenly flashed a dim light, like a bloodthirsty hungry wolf aiming at the prey hidden on the side. Death flashes. Suddenly, an icy voice with a terrifying slaughter sounded from behind Lu Chengkong. Enel, the incarnation of thunder and lightning, a powerhouse known for his speed, could only see a dead gray light flashing in front of his eyes, and he didn't even have time to do it. From this, it can be seen that the speed of the person is not fast. If the person attacked him, Enel can only be killed in seconds. Momentary teleportation. It's a pity that he was not facing Enel, but Lu Chengkong. The space fluctuated, Lu Chengkong disappeared in place in an instant, and the person who came here had already exposed his identity without a hit. It was Gorosei, the last Alchiba among the 5 elders who survived. Obviously he expected Lu Chengkong to come back here, so he hid and attacked together, but what he couldn't accept was that Lu Chengkong escaped him and was proud of him. The fastest move. It's not a good habit to be dazed when fighting, isn't it? The hand of space. At the same time, he looked forward, as if he had passed through layers of space restraints, and came directly in front of Alchiba and pinched him. Want to bind me? The same moves are useless to me. I have been able to face the space fruit for hundreds of years. How could I not know it? Death Tombstone. After all, Alchiba is Alchiba, and he swallowed up 4 of the same powerhouses. His strength is only under Lu Chengkong after the mirror fusion. How can he be blocked so easily? Countless tombstones with an aura of death suddenly appeared beside Alchiba, as if to form an absolute defense to surround Alchiba. The strong aura of death seemed to corrode the entire world and sea. It's a bit tricky. Lu Chengkong sighed inwardly. Although Alchiba at this time did not have the calm mood of the past, he was a strong man who had survived for more than 800 years. The consciousness is very rich and terrifying. In addition, his understanding of the space fruit is so easy to obtain. Before, Lu Chengkong was able to catch Alchiba by surprise because of the combination of space and time. The same recruitment and close to the space fruit, it is simply impossible to perform the same function again. Soul Eater. Just when Lu Chengkong was groaning, Alchiba's attack also arrived. This time it was actually a soul attack, which not only eroded the body, but also directly eroded the soul. The people who are basically not dead are seriously injured, let alone the death chi of a powerhouse like Alchiba. Time, space together. Time and space are reversed. Lu Chengkong's left eye flashed a silver light, and his right eye flashed a golden light. His hands were vacant, with Lu Chengkong's body as the center. It seemed to form a vortex of time and space. Time and space suddenly became incomparably chaotic, but they recovered in an instant under Lu Chengkong's control. Impossible. The 2 taboo abilities of time and space are just like water and fire colliding with each other, and it is impossible for them to be perfectly integrated. Alchiba glared in anger and roared in disbelief, but there was a trace of fear that could not be concealed under his eyelids. Yes, he was afraid. If space and time were used alternately, he was not afraid. But the perfect combination of space and time has turned into a terrible time and space fruit, which is not as simple as 1 + 1. Nothing is impossible in the world, it's just up to you to try it. I will never let you escape this time. This sea area is your burial place. Lu Chengkong said that the murderous aura on his body broke out unreservedly, and the surging demon Emperor Haki pressed down on Alchiba wave after wave like an endless tsunami wave with infinite power. No, I'm the strongest. Even that woman can't kill me. It's even more impossible for you as a kid. I can't die, it's impossible. Alchiba is afraid. This is the consequence of not being able to keep up with the state of mind. In the case of absolute advantage, it may be nothing, but in the case of evenly matched or the strength is not too big, as Alchiba is now, it is very dangerous. At this moment, he no longer had the arrogant and domineering look that he had before, and some were just afraid. He only had one thought left in his heart now, then run away. It's a pity that Lu Chengkong would give him such a chance. No, obviously not. Such an enemy is still unstable, and an enemy whose mentality has become crazy is very dangerous to stay in the world, especially if the opponent has no one other than himself to be his opponent. Maybe Angelina, Khalifa, Hancock. 3 girls can keep a period of time without attacking under Alchiba, can retreat to save their lives, but the other is only a dead end. Space-time wormhole. Lu Chengkong shouted and punched in front of him. Alchiba, who was about to escape, suddenly tensed, as if Lu Chengkong had hit him. Time and space seemed to have stopped suddenly, but Enel, who was standing on the side, kept his eyes wide open, for fear that he would miss the slightest bit. A battle at this level was a rare encounter in a century or even 1,000 years. How can this be? What is this? Alchiba was terrified. He didn't want to die. The longer people live, the more afraid of death. This sentence is not entirely true, but it is not entirely wrong. If Alchiba's mood can keep up with him, he will definitely face all this calmly. It is just unwillingness and anger, and you will never be afraid. After all, a strong person at this level has a solid state of mind. It's a pity that his strength was not acquired by his own cultivation. Many root causes. This is why Lu Chengkong rarely uses demon transformation and mirror fusion. Although these 2 moves can greatly increase his strength, he would never use it if he was not facing an invincible enemy. Compared with Alchiba's forced swallowing, his stunt doesn't have such big sequelae, but it's not good to use it for a long time. This is also because Lu Chengkong is surrounded by Khalifa and Dana, and he always accepts the washing of life and light, so that he does not lose his nature by power. Otherwise, in the long run, it is very likely that he will become the second Archibama as a slave of power. 329 completely kill the Gorosei, 5 elders. As the 2 strongest opponents I have faced since my debut, I will send you back to the west with my strongest demon mystery, Demon Emperor's order. Lu Chengkong's right hand turned into an afterimage, as if releasing a spell. He hit countless seals, but even so, in fact, a second pass was not enough, and if Alchiba was not blocked, he could completely use a escape in less than a second. It is only possible that Alchiba is now completely attracted by the space-time wormhole behind him. Although he has performed 120% under the oppression of death due to his powerful strength, Lu Chengkong is strong. In addition to blocking the enemy's ability to move, the time-space wormhole has extremely terrifying lethality. Once attracted, it will be teleported into the endless space, and the strength of Alchiba in the face of the infinite time-space storm is also inevitable. Undoubtedly. And Alchiba obviously understood this, so he kept struggling with fear, but unfortunately Lu Chengkong had already ordered him to kill him, so how could he give him this chance? Go to hell! Lu Chengkong roared. The silver-black eyelids and eyelids burst out with a pressing cold light and killing intent, and his right hand suddenly hit Alchiba with 2 palms in the air. Bang! The space suddenly trembled when he got up. The space was completely shattered in an instant. A shock wave visible in the silver-black inner eye seemed to break the shackles of time and space and hit Alchiba directly. Obviously, this move is really the strongest in Lu Chengkong's demon mystery. Except for the combination of the demon Rokushiki, the demon in addition to his powerful physique, he has added the ability of time and space, so that the opponent has no chance to dodge. Poochie. Sure enough, as Lu Chengkong thought, Alchiba still couldn't escape the terrifying attraction of the time wormhole, and was directly hit by the Demon Sovereign Order, which contained various power elements. Ah! Alchiba screamed, and there was no trace of blood on his face. The body that was still struggling suddenly seemed to have been emptied of strength and no longer resisted, and was directly attracted by the space-time wormhole, vaguely as if a shrill scream could be heard coming from the space-time wormhole, but it soon disappeared, as if it had never appeared. Hey, don't be stupid, let's go. Lu Chengkong turned around and found that Enel was staring at him with a monster-like look. Lu Chengkong couldn't help but feel a little shiver in his heart. This guy wouldn't be back the mountain. You can't be a monster, are you, not to mention the time-space wormhole, your demon emperor's decree just now should contain the ability of time and space, right? Although Enel was asking, his tone was extremely affirmative, as if he was saying state a fact. Yes, I did my best in the face of this guy. Although I didn't use the mirror to turn the world, it was a stunt after all. The Demon Emperor's order can be said to be one of my strongest offensive tactics, and it has the best effect. The most comprehensive. Lu Chengkong didn't hide it, but admitted it generously. Looking at Enel's expression of hesitating to speak, Lu Chengkong certainly knew what he was thinking. You want to ask why you can combine space and time, which are extremely mutually exclusive, like fire and fire, yin and yang, right? Lu Chengkong said. Yes, Enel shrugged. He also knew that his thoughts could not be hidden from Lu Chengkong, and he did not intend to hide them. After all, everyone has curiosity. It's very simple. If two fruits are in one person's body at the same time, of course it is difficult to merge, but I know a person named Zhang Sanfeng. He can complement yin and yang. Water and fire are compatible. I got inspiration from him. Mirror fusion and my own ontology is a bridge and carrier to balance space and time. And a mirror clone controls space, a mirror clone controls time, and the three can be integrated into one. Just one. Lu Chengkong's tone was extremely relaxed, and he didn't notice that as he uttered every word, the surprise in Enel's eyes increased, and by the end, Enel had fallen into sluggishness. Also, I also have a mirror image clone that is a double fruit. After merging it, the power of the space-time that can borrow the double fruit is increased 10 times, 100 times. Lu Chengkong seemed to think that this was not enough to stimulate Enel, so he threw it out. A secret that really made Enel completely collapse. Hee hee. Lu Chengkong laughed heartily when he saw Enel's appearance at this time, but on the surface he was still calm and calm like water. The space portal suddenly appeared. Lu Chengkong glanced at Enel, who was still in a daze, and immediately he kicked it and blasted Enel in, and then he followed. Ah, you bastard! Lu Chengkong seemed to hear a scream from Enel, but Lu Chengkong gave full play to his control over every part of his body and fully implemented Enel's scream. The policy that the left ear is in and the right ear is out is automatically filtered. Hey, I'm back. You look like you've cleaned up that old man. Whitebeard, who was drinking with Garp and the others, said quietly when he saw Lu Chengkong and Enel suddenly appear beside him. Yeah, I sent him to a different dimension, and he didn't even leave a body. Now he can't be resurrected even if he is a god. Lu Chengkong nodded and said casually, but his words fell into the ears of Kuzan Kizaru and the others, but they still shivered, and secretly thought that he was fortunately not as idiot as Akainu, otherwise he really didn't know how he died. Haha, well, if it wasn't for your kid who killed him, I would really have a headache how to deal with him. If he shamelessly attacked Laozi's child, I really don't know what to do. Although Whitebeard had already guessed that this would be the case, he couldn't help laughing with joy after hearing it himself, but what he said moved the people in his pirate group. Of course they knew Whitebeard. Not saying it to him on purpose, but in fact Whitebeard was worried about that. I'm going to rest for a few days, and I'll come back to you in a few days. After Lu Chengkong finished speaking, he disappeared on the spot and returned to the Xinxiaoyao. Of course, Whitebeard and the others had no objection to this. Kuina, Tashigi, today you two little girls don't want to run away. As soon as Lu Chengkong got back to the ship, he caught the two little girls, Tashigi and Kuina, who were going to run towards Juliana, and teleported instantly. Returning to his own ship, he completely ignored Juliana's unhappy face. 330 knocked down Kuina, Tashigi. Apparently, she actually robbed her daughter in front of her, and she still wanted to take her daughter to do it right away, and she was not a mother without passing by her, not to mention that she was Lu Chengkong's wife. Of course, I am not happy that Lu Chengkong has two more wives, not to mention that these two wives are still his own daughters, because Tashigi and Kuina are almost the same in appearance. Juliana has also treated Tashigi as her own daughter over the years. But no matter how upset or unhappy Juliana was, she couldn't resist, not to mention that she never thought of resisting. she was just upset and jealous for a while. Cuckold, look, I just said that these two girls won't be able to escape for a long time. I thought they would be fine every time they stay by your side, but I didn't expect to be caught after a long time. I really want to see the three of you side by side in bed. It looks like they are together. Salis completely inherited the bad taste of her teacher's murdered character Castana, and immediately ran over to Gulena with a smile. Mention that Sally was born, even the most calm Robin had a hint of curiosity in his eyes. After all, Gulena, Kuina, and if they have been together for a long time, there is no way to tell them apart, so she is also a little curious about the time when the three daughters will come. What will be the scene? Damn, Juliana was not to be outdone, because she knew that she would never be able to fight Salas, a person who had completely acquired the true expertise of Portgas de Dana, so she could only use the itching magic to find the sensitive parts of Salas's body. Attack, a classmate who has served a man for many years. Gulena of course knows where the sensitive parts of Satras are. You two, do you still think you are children when you are old? It's not serious. Portgas de Dana suddenly appeared on the side and shook her head and sighed. Liz and Gulena are the same. It's just that her shaking head still amused Nami, Vivi and other girls. Suddenly, there was a crisp and sweet but distinctive laughter on the new Xiaoyao number, which made Garp Sengoku and others in the distance look envious. Obviously, they are all very envious of Lu Chengkong's beauty. Che, what's there to be envious of? Being so small, she is far from the beauty of our white giants. Whitebeard said with disdain when he saw the envious expressions of Sengoku and the others. Sengoku and Garp, the two people who were most familiar with Whitebeard, heard the words, and couldn't help but see a picture in their minds, a giantess who was about the same height as Whitebeard. I don't dare to compliment, but in the aesthetics of the white giant, this female giant is beautiful. The white giant beauty that Whitebeard likes. Let me go, don't be like this. Tashigi and Kuina were obviously stunned at first, but they soon came to their senses, looking at Lu Chengkong's perverted appearance. The burning eyes in his eyes seemed to be hot. The desire to eat his stomach suddenly struggled. It's a pity that their strength is not enough for Lu Chengkong at all. Although the side effects came after the mirror fusion was released, Lu Chengkong was a little weak, but with the previous use and Lu Chengkong's strength and body continued to grow stronger. Long ago after the first use, I was in a coma for a day and a night and was weak for more than a week. At this time, Lu Chengkong was only in the dark, and he came back to his senses in an instant. Except for the mental and physical weakness, he couldn't see anything wrong. According to Lu Chengkong's abnormal resilience, it took a day or so. Back to its heyday. If you can get away with my name this time, I'll turn it around and write it. Lu Chengkong laughed evilly when he saw the two girls blushing, panting, and surging with love. Soon two screams came from the captain's room, indicating that both Kuina and Tashigi had transformed from girls to women. I don't know how long it took. After the cloud cleared and the rain cleared, Lu Chengkong had completely calmed down, his eyes twinkled again and again, and he thought to himself, the devil transforms twice and superimposes the mirror fusion, although it can increase my strength to an unprecedented level. Although the side effects of weakness were overcome, the violent and crazy killing intent in my heart was not so easy to smooth out after the incident, so I had to use the bed affairs to vent all these negative emotions. Well, with this violence, I finally ate the two little girls clean this time. After pondering for a long time, Lu Chengkong slowly let out a sigh of turbidity. Seeing that he was hugging him on the left and right, his beautiful face still had traces of joy and tears, which suddenly made Lu Chengkong feel pity. Took a new sip on the foreheads of the two girls, closed his eyes, hugged the two girls, and fell asleep. After all, he was very tired physically and mentally after the battle. A few days passed quickly. In addition to the necessary training, Lu Chengkong was enjoying and having fun in bed with all the girls. The rage and madness in his heart had been completely vented. In the past, if it was just a demon transformation, Lu Chengkong didn't need to do this at all, but after superimposing the mirror fusion, Lu Chengkong didn't dare to take it lightly. He didn't want to leave any gaps in his body and spirit, and Khalifa and Hancock obviously expected this, so they cooperated most actively on the bed, making Lu Chengkong's soul feel so refreshed that it was about to fly into the sky. It's really troublesome. I really need to use less mirror fusion. Otherwise, it's not good to have to fight in bed with my wives for a few days after each battle. Although he had this idea, but looking at Lu Chengkong's expression, he knew that he was completely happy about this matter, and how could he refuse the love of all the girls? First, it can enhance feelings, and second, it can soothe all the responsible emotions brought about by mirror fusion and demonic transformation. Whitebeard, red hair, Garp. Set off. Lu Chengkong took a deep breath, and then shouted. In an instant, Garp and others came from several directions, apparently in response to Lu Chengkong. Laugh Tale, the end of the Great Waterway, the most mysterious place in the entire One Piece, King of Pirates world, where all the secrets are buried. Today I will come to reveal you completely. Lu Chengkong looked forward confidently, with hockey all over his body, making Nami and other women on the side stare at Lu Chengkong with admiration and admiration. 331 to Laugh Tale. Disaster Island, it really is a natural danger. Lu Chengkong was shocked. Watching the sea in front of him suddenly appeared two continuous mountains that seemed to have no end. The peaks on both sides formed a canyon, which was unreachable. Not only that, there are endless kinds of natural disasters near this huge canyon: tsunamis, storms, torrential rains, lightning, earthquakes, tornadoes, sea tornadoes. There are too many. If the weather in the second half of the Great Waterway is terrifying and changeable, and the disasters are constant, then these disasters in the second half of the Great Waterway are nothing compared to the natural disaster in the canyon that Lu Chengkong called a natural danger. Too far. Whitebeard, this place is obviously a canyon. It's not an exaggeration to call it a natural danger. Why is this place called a disaster island? Should it be called a disaster canyon? Lu Chengkong asked a little puzzled. In fact, it was not only him, but also some people who have never been here also looked at Whitebeard in confusion. It's very simple, because there used to be no road here at all. This canyon was dug by me, Roger and Golden Lion, with all their human and material resources. When we came here before, we thought this was the end, but when we waited until we got to the peak to find out that it wasn't, so we carved the island into a canyon and created a road to Laugh Tale. Although Whitebeard said it lightly, but others sounded really admired. After all, this is a disaster island. Looking at the canyons on both sides, the continuous plateau-like peaks, it is too difficult to carve away, and it is also necessary to resist all kinds of natural disasters all the time. So it is. Lu Chengkong suddenly realized that he never doubted Whitebeard's words. He could also use the ability of the shock fruit. Lu Chengkong could see the traces of Deng being attacked by the shock wave from this canyon, and Whitebeard's human beings are disdainful of lying, and there is no need to lie. Let's go. After the doubts were lifted, Lu Chengkong didn't have any worries. Nami also began to control the Shin Xiaoyao, and Khalifa and other women in the pirate group also showed their magical powers to help the Shin Xiaoyao resist the natural disaster that came to her face. Erosion. In the face of such a disaster, the most fatal injury to the captives is that apart from the emptiness of time and space. These abnormal abilities should be the nature and paramesha fruit abilities that have the greatest damage range. First, shake the world. Lu Chengkong slammed his fist forward, completely ignoring that the space could not bear such a shock wave, and sent out a morning-shattering sound. After the punch, not only did not stop, but instead continued to hit a series of shocking shock waves without any pause. Pity that Garp didn't know whether it was intentional or not, but he was actually heard by Sengoku. Whitebeard on the side of the huge Buddha was obviously familiar with these things, and he was not to be outdone after seeing Lu Chengkong using his abilities. As for Kuzan and others, of course, people are embarrassed to take the free boat, and Sengoku immediately turned into a great Buddha, with the appearance of saving people's lives. Garp, who was watching, scolded, "If you are so compassionate, you won't kill so many people. People who don't know think he's righteous." Immediately, a blue vein appeared on the head that was visible to the naked eye. If it hadn't been for knowing that it wasn't time to care about it, Sengoku might have been hit by a Tathagata palm. The gate of heaven. Khalifa used a rather peculiar trick. A round door suddenly appeared, and then opened. The terrible suction absorbed all the tornado, rainstorm, and lightning that came in, and never left. Come out. There is no world. Needless to say, Angelina's, any natural disaster within 10 meters close to her disappeared in an instant, and the people watching on the side were extremely frightened. After all, Angelina turned Kizaru's fruit ability into a wave of her hand. The terrifying ability of nothingness is still fresh in the memory of countless people. Humph. Hancock's trick is even more powerful. Standing on the bow of the boat, he stared blankly at the disaster around him. He just snorted coldly, but the murderousness and nobility contained in it could not be concealed. A cold snort came out, and all the natural disasters in all directions turned into stones. That's right. Hancock has turned sweet fruit into an instinct of her body. For example, in her heart, she wants to turn all the disasters in front of her into stone. Then she will stare at the disasters in front of her, or snort coldly. These tsunamis and sea tornadoes will be petrified. Lose. 9 days of thunder. Enel roared wildly, releasing countless thick thunderbolts from his body, and all kinds of disasters were razed to the ground. With the passage of time and the stunts released by the crowd to resist, it quickly crossed this kind of canyon and completely crossed the disaster island, but what came on was a huge incomparable front surrounded by fog. The island, no, it can no longer be said to be an island, and it can only be said to be a mainland. This is the largest land I have ever seen in this world. It is simply a continent. Lu Chengkong looked at the continent in front of him in shock. Is this the end of the Great Waterway? Really stylish. I was surprised when I saw it. I thought Laugh Tale was a relatively large island at first, but I didn't expect it to be a huge continent. Whitebeard said with understanding. Go up and see what's buried in this continent. Laugh Tale space. Lu Chengkong snorted and rushed over first. Obviously he was going to investigate to avoid any unnecessary accidents. Hey, don't be surprised when that happens. The most calm one is the Pluto Rayleigh. From the calm expression on his face, you know that he knows exactly what's buried inside. What is this? It's too exaggerated. Why are there so many devil fruits? Lu Chengkong looked forward the moment he boarded the Laugh Tale, and was immediately stunned. He was looking at a tree that was taller and thicker than a 1,000-year-old tree. The gigantic tree is a giant tree that is taller and thicker than the 1,000-year-old tree. If this is the case, it will not surprise Lu Chengkong, but this giant tree is covered with all kinds of devil fruits. Not only that, as Lu Chengkong looked around, there would be such a giant tree every 100 meters. They were all covered with devil fruits, and each giant tree had at least 20 devil fruits on it. And gold and silver jewelry everywhere. It can be said that the whole land is paved with gold and silver jewelry. Hiss. With the continuous flow of people on the Laugh Tale, even Whitebeard, except Rayleigh, couldn't help taking a breath. Back then, Whitebeard also came not far from Laugh Tale. Seeing that Roger's boat was one step ahead of him, he left without saying a word, not knowing what was in it. 332 History Text. Wow, if only these were mine. Stop dreaming, even if it's all given to you. Can you move out? Brother, pinch me to see if I'm dreaming. Ah, don't be so hard. All kinds of exclamations continued to be heard. It seemed that all these pirates had become the first time to go to the big town in the big city, but no one sneered, because the expressions of the people here were different. Not much. I'm so surprised now, boy in the sky, and what's more surprising to you is yet to come. Pluto Rayleigh walked out indifferently, but he didn't know all the things he did when he saw these things in front of him. The expression was not much better than the people in front of him. Shanks, why do you look like this? Weren't you on the One Piece King of Pirates ship? Haven't you seen it? Hawkeye Mahawk asked inexplicably. I was only a trainee crew back then, and the ship said that I don't have enough strength, so it's better not to know so much. Shanks replied. That's it. Hawk-eyed Mahawk understood immediately. Obviously, Roger was worried that Shanks was not mature enough at that time, so he said nonsense and brought him some unnecessary danger. Go Go in and have a look. Lu Chengkong took a deep breath, calmed down his emotions completely, and walked forward with his crew. 2 hours later, as the group of people continued to deepen, the exclamations and screams kept ringing. Obviously there were too many treasures, famous knives, devil fruits, treasures. This is the text of history. Robin's eyes narrowed, and a rectangular stone 100 meters high and 50 meters wide appeared in front of her about 300 meters away, and it was inserted into the ground, giving people a sense of simplicity and vicissitudes. It seems to have experienced the baptism of endless years. Go, Robin, this is the last knot in your heart, don't leave any regrets in your heart. Lu Chengkong patted Robin's shoulder, looking at her red eyes, there were faint tears. Obviously she was too excited, and insisted on it for many years, wasn't it for these things in front of her? Yeah, Nicole. Robin looked back at Lu Chengkong. In addition to the deep affection and love in her eyes, there was deep gratitude. Obviously, without Lu Chengkong, she didn't know what her life would be like. Miserable. Ah, it was just that Nico. Robin screamed in pain not long after she walked out, which made Lu Chengkong's heart sink, and immediately appeared at Nico. Robin's side and hugged him back. At the same time I understood what was going on. Gravity. Lu Chengkong stared at the huge stone slab in front of him, then coldly spit out 2 words. I just wanted to say don't be so impulsive and you went out, hey. The young man is really. Before Rayleigh said anything, he changed the subject very cleverly when he saw Lu Chengkong's murderous look. From here on, Ralph, the forbidden area of Bilu, have you seen it? There is an unclear and obvious dividing line at the foot of the foot. If you cross this line, the gravity will be doubled for the first 1 meter or so, and you must know these gravity and Gorosei. 5. The effect of the gravity fruit of elders is almost the same, and it is applied to any part of the body, including the internal organs of the body, etc. Quote. No wonder, it's at least 300 meters from here to that slate, 300 times, and the gravity of any part of the body is really not something that Robin can withstand. Lu Chengkong agreed, knowing that the invincible Sun Wukong, the protagonist in an anime 7 Dragon Ball watched by Lu Chengkong in his previous life, can also withstand 100 times the gravity when he goes to Namek to fight Frieza, but this 100 times the gravity. After the gravity is over, the strength of Sun Wukong has undergone earth-shaking changes. He can easily defeat the strongest warrior under Frieza, and even face Frieza with the power to fight. As can be seen from the description in the anime, since there is a world of One Piece, King of Pirates, there may not be a world of 7 Dragon Balls. Robin's strength is obviously different from that of Sun Wukong, who entered the double gravity room to practice. If Nico Robin can withstand 100 times the gravity, doesn't it mean that Nico Robin's strength can be compared to that of Sun Wukong at that time? Let my husband come, 100 times gravity is too much for you, and you are not a strong person who cultivates physical skills and hockey. Of course, your physique can't bear it, so be obedient, wait for me here. Lu Chengkong looking at Robin's stubborn eyes, he couldn't help his tone, but he couldn't hide his deep concern. Yeah, Robin Vivi nodded, his heart was as sweet as eating honey. Obviously Lu Chengkong was worried about her and was nervous, so the stubbornness in her eyes was quickly captured. Lu Chengkong also breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Nicole Robin, who had compromised. Although Robin was usually very talkative and approachable, once he made a decision, he was as stubborn as himself. Now he saw this fierce horse being subdued by himself. Of course, I am very proud of being so considerate. No matter what, they still have to walk over this slate. If they didn't listen to Rayleigh's words, everyone knew that every meter of going doubles the gravity. They would not believe that it would be the case. Because Lu Chengkong's face was extremely calm, as if there was no gravity on his body at all, he crossed 300 meters in 1 minute without blushing or panting. This was the difference between the strengths. Lu Chengkong's life return has been cultivated to the realm where he can control, modify and change genes. He is cultivating every part of his body all the time, not just strengthening his body externally. At the beginning, the gravity field of Gorosei, 5 elders, was at least 1,000 times the gravity, and Lu Chengkong was injured by various attacks. Now the gravity is only 300 times. For Lu Changkong, it is no different from the outside world. Give me up. Lu Changkong pressed his hands on the slate and shouted loudly. The whole body's strength was not simply using his hands, but the slate remained motionless. Don't forget that this slate can experience so many years of erosion. There is no obvious change. Obviously, the quality is very good. Of course, the weight is very large. Of course, the weight of this slate has increased by 300 times under the gravity of 300 times. Ability fusion, 10 times the strength. Lu Changkong snorted coldly, fused the double fruit's clone, and immediately used the ability of the double fruit to increase his own strength 10 times. The stone slab that was rooted on the ground like a rock finally sounded. There was a shock, and Lu Changkong slowly lifted it up. 333 The real secret of Laugh Tale. You brat, I have to admit that Roger is indeed far worse than you. Although Roger was able to walk in front of the slate back then, his endurance limit was only more than 700 times. If there is no heyday of poisoning, I believe that no more than 1,200 times. Quote. Pluto Rayleigh looked at Lu Changkong with admiration at the fact that he had pulled up such a heavy stone slab and moved it over. Whitebeard, how many times are you worried about how much you can withstand? After putting down the slate, Lu Changkong signaled that Nico Robin could come over to see it, and at the same time, he did not forget to ask Whitebeard. 2,000 times is no problem, but it can't exceed 3,000 times. Whitebeard stepped out and felt the power of the field of gravity before speaking after a while. Whitebeard's current strength is indeed not comparable to Roger or Roger in his heyday. In addition, the physique of Whitebeard's white giant is naturally far more than that of ordinary human beings, and his strength has surpassed the realm of the four emperors. In general, the same level of powerhouse. I think this is also the case. Alchiba, who was stronger than him at the time, can only fight with him and lose both. Quote. Lu Changkong made a rough estimate of himself, and found that he could withstand more than Whitebeard under normal conditions. If it is a normal human, such as Gorosei, 5 elders, under the condition of equal strength, it will definitely not reach the level of Whitebeard. After all, the natural physical difference between ordinary humans and the giant royal family Whitebeard is too far. But Lu Changkong is different. His demon bloodline is not a satire. In addition, he has returned his life to such a high level of cultivation, and he can exercise all the organs of his body. Of course, he can make up for the difference between ordinary humans and the white giants of the giant royal family. The gap is even more than that of Whitebeard. Almost. The three girls, Khalifa, Hancock, and Angelina, exchanged glances and said in unison. The three girls are also extraordinary. They have all returned their lives and cultivated to the point of controlling their genes, and they can completely ignore physical trauma, and it is normal to overdraft crazy cultivation. There are fruits of life and fruits of light, and it is normal to have a physique that is comparable to that of Whitebeard. After all, Whitebeard has not cultivated to return his life, let alone cultivated to the point of controlling genes. Obviously, the gap can be obtained through acquired efforts and opportunities. Compensate or even surpass. How could this be? Nico Robin's face was as pale as paper, and she couldn't help exclaiming after reading it. What's wrong? What's written on the historical text? The historical text of One Piece, King of Pirates, is a big secret, and it's fake if you're not curious. Although it was shocking, it was a thing of the past after all, and Nico Robin's experience over the years was not comparable to the original work. So he quickly controlled his emotions, but in his eyes the shock and panic still couldn't go away. Deputy Captain Rayleigh, do you want to talk? Nicole Robin asked, looking at Rayleigh, who had such an expression. No, the old man originally wanted to keep this in his heart forever. Since you have seen it, you can say it yourself. Rayleigh shook his head and said with complicated eyes. Okay, 900 years ago, there were not so many islands in this great waterway. There were only 20 continents. Many islands in the present great waterway are split from 20 islands. Nico Robin's first sentence made everyone's face change greatly. No one has calculated how many islands in the great waterway are there, because there are too many, but if these islands are combined, it is definitely a large and terrifying piece of land, which can make what could this 20 continents split into so many islands. Split apart. The Earth seems to have been a complete continent hundreds of millions of years ago, and then it split, but if this is the case, there is no reason for Robin to do this. Could it be? An idea appeared quietly. Even Lu Chengkong could not bear it. There was a flash of fear, and sure enough, what Nico Robin said next confirmed that Lu Chengkong's idea was correct. At the same time, there was no world government at that time. There was only one country named D. This country ruled over these 20 continents, not the world government. In these 20 continents, D had absolute ruling power. The real supreme ruler of a country is the 20 kings. As long as the 20 kings say a word, even if they take the lives of the people of the 20 continents, more than 99% of the people in the 20 continents will not hesitate of giving up his life. Quote. What? Those present who survived the Battle of Gorosei, 5 elders certainly knew what the 20 kings represented. In order to better rule these 20 continents, the 20 kings each manage a continent. According to the above records, the feelings of the 20 kings are very good, but after all, they are all absolute powerhouses who move the entire Great Waterway. Of course, they also want to make a distinction between them. From the beginning of friendship and discussion, to the contest between each other, to the final decision of life and death to step on the other side. As for why it evolved to such an out-of-control point, the historical text does not record in detail, but only tells the time, power, villain, competitive spirit. Later, there was a life and death battle between the 20 kings. Each of them had the power to destroy the world. People from the 20 continents could not intervene in the battle between them. They could only act as bystanders. Because of their unscrupulous life and death battles between them, the continents have been split into countless pieces, and there are countless islands in the current Great Waterway. Silent, so quiet that even the sound of a breath can be heard clearly. Such a big 20 continents can't bear the battle between 20 of them and split into countless islands now. How powerful it needs to be. Strength. It has always been a mystery how strong the 20 kings are. Although there was a 20 king before, it has been more than 800 years after all, but even so, it is only this body that is under the control of Alkiba. Gorosei, 5 elders and others are a little stronger, so how strong was their heyday when they didn't die? Did you say what kind of fruit power they ate? Lu Chengkong couldn't help asking. There were a lot of battles between them. At the beginning, none of the 20 of them were fruit power users, and at that time, there were no Logia, Paramesha, Zone, Eudemons, let alone the top 10 Logia fruits. Ability. Nico Robin suddenly stopped here, looking at her hesitant look as if there was something she couldn't say. What's the matter? Angelina asked curiously, not just her, but everyone except Rayleigh. 334 top 5 Paramesha, Zone. It's nothing, but the latter is too ridiculous, you may not believe it. Nicole Robin said. Cut, I thought why, the world is so big, there is nothing absurd or absurd, let's talk. Lu Chengkong thought why at first, when he heard the words, he was immediately heartless. As the 20 kings fought with each other, the strength of each of them continued to increase. They all wanted to overwhelm each other, so they tried every means to improve their strength, so they ate the devil fruit, and some people were already eating it at that time. Devil fruit, but the 20 kings felt that devil fruit was too side effect and disdained to eat it, but they all ate it later. And the fruit has too much power, and they were worried that they would not be able to get what they liked, so the 20 kings truce. So they mobilized everyone in the 20 continents they ruled to find all the devil fruits in the continent and let them the ability to eat it alone and record the devil fruit at the same time as the current devil's manual. After 30 years, they finally found a devil fruit that they were more satisfied with, so a shocking battle began again. Wait, Robin, if that's the case, it doesn't seem strange. They have absolute dominion. In order not to take advantage of the other party, it's normal to just eat the devil fruit in the continent that they rule. Impatient Nami immediately jump out and say. If that's the case, it's fine. After they had the devil fruit, they had a fight, and that time the winner was actually decided, but they didn't agree with each other, and they all believed that the one who won their own depends on forcing their excellent devil fruit. Later, in an accident, the 20 kings discovered that their bodies were different from ordinary people, and they could actually replace devil fruits. Quote. What? Robin, what do you mean? Replacing devil fruits? Lu Chengkong said in disbelief. He also thought about the ability to replace devil fruits. After he could control genes, he thought about it since he could control his body. Any department, even brain genes. So can you eliminate the devil in your body and replace the devil fruit? Of course, this crazy idea is also fleeting. Too many things have been entangled in him, so that he has no extra time to think about it. Chengkong, don't interrupt Robin, let her go on. He was listening with gusto and found that Juliana was interrupted, and she immediately became angry at Lu Chengkong. I don't know why, but here are just 4 words that are different from ordinary people. As for replacing a devil fruit, after eating a new devil fruit, it can eliminate the original devil fruit ability in the body, and then obtain a new one. The devil fruit ability, and the number of times seems to be infinite. It is precisely because of their credit that the devil fruits are classified, Logia, Zone, Paramesha. At that time, the Eudemons in ancient era were also classified into Zone. In addition to the top 10 natural top fruit abilities, it is also recorded here. There are also 5 top Zone fruit abilities and 5 top fruit abilities that have not yet been ranked. It's just that these devil fruit abilities are listed as the top fruit abilities, because these are the fruit abilities chosen by the 20 kings. It should be said that they think this is the best fruit ability in the continent they manage, and they also feel that they are as stronger than the opponents, but has not yet fought, and these fruit abilities have not yet been ranked. No wonder I said that when the top 10 Logia fruits are 10, how are the 20 kings divided? It turns out that Zone and Paramesha each have 5. I think it is said that Logia is the strongest among the 3 fruits. The reason is also because Logia has 10 top fruit abilities, while Paramesha and Zone have only 5 top fruit abilities. Quote. Lu Chengkong just got acquainted with Juliana just now, and it didn't take long for him to jump out again, but this time Juliana was not jealous or dissatisfied with him, but showed a thoughtful expression. The same is true, obviously they all agree with Lu Chengkong's inference. This time, it has been 50 years. After 50 years of screening, they all think that this should be the most suitable fruit ability for them. Even if they lose, it is understandable, so they challenge those who defeated them. 20 The King's ranking battle has started again. I think you are also curious about the top 10 Logia and the top 5 Paramesha. What is Zone? Logia is fate, nothingness, time, space, creation, destruction, light, life, death, darkness. Paramesha is mirror, soul, double, shock, copy. Zone are white tiger, Changqi, Teoti, phoenix, big Buddha. This time, no one interrupted Nico Robin's words, so Robin finally finished all the content recorded on the slate in one breath. This time, they decided the winner, and the top 10 Logia, the top 5 Zone and Paramesha's fruit ability were also ranked separately, but the difference was that this time was also the last battle. They did not admit defeat, and they hid in the end. They couldn't stop, they could only kill the other party, or be killed by the other party. It didn't say who survived in the end. But the only thing to explain is that because the 20 kings disappeared in the end, no one knows where they went, and because of their disappearance, the country fell into an infighting for power and won the power because of their disappearance. The family has also disappeared completely, and replaced by the current world government, and the descendants of the 20 kings have been named world nobles. Another name is Tenryubito. I think Gorosei, 5 elders are also worried that the 20 kings are not dead. Light didn't dare to attack Tenryubito. After speaking all the information recorded on the slate in one breath, Nico Robin seemed to have also experienced a battle, and there was actually a fragrant sweat on the forehead. Marco, I didn't expect your fruit ability to be ranked 4th in Zone's top fruit ability, but why is your strength only at the admiral level? Ace was joking at Marco, while the other pirates were envious and jealous. Look at Marco. The ranking of the devil fruit is also determined by the outcome of the battle between the 20 kings. If it falls into the hands of others, it does not mean that he can use the fruit's power to the level of the 20 kings, and the strength of the fruit's power is only the overall strength. Part of it. Don't forget that the 20 kings used to be indistinguishable, and they were not capable people before, and only with their strength can they maximize their fruit ability. This time, Whitebeard also looked at Marco with a bit of hatred, and Marco felt guilty for a while. Marco thought he was amazing before, but now it seems that he is a little embarrassed. 335 Uncovering the Mystery. Also, Hancock, your fruit ability has a third name besides sweet fruit and charm fruit. Suddenly, Nico Robin, who was silent, looked at Hancock with strange eyes and asked Hancock. It's also a bit unsatisfactory. What's the name? Hancock didn't take much interest in it, but politely still had to answer. Soul fruit. Nico Robin took a deep look at Hancock and said word by word. Poochie. Lu Chengkong sprayed out the tea he just drank when he heard Nico Robin's voice. Unfortunately, all the tea that Lu Chengkong sprayed fell on Albia, with mask and cloak. Zhu Xing and Margaret's three women's faces immediately made the three women blush, staring at Lu Chengkong with shame and anger. Kikyo picked up a bow and arrow and was about to shoot at Lu Chengkong. Fortunately, Khalifa and Hancock immediately walked over to comfort him. At the same time, they looked at Lu Chengkong with a deliberate look. Obviously, the two women suspected that Lu Chengkong deliberately sprayed them on the three girls. No wonder Khalifa and Hancock have this idea, because these three girls are also the three girls in the Happy Pirates, except for Angelina, Portgas Dana, and Portgas de Rouge, who is wearing a cloak that makes them invisible. The remaining three daughters, Margaret, Kikyo, and Orbia, did not have a super friendly relationship with Lu Chengkong, and it was precisely because of this that Khalifa and Hancock looked at Lu Chengkong with such eyes. As for why Rouge wears a mask and a cloak, Dana doesn't want people to know that Lu Chengkong and others have the ability to resurrect the dead, otherwise it may cause a lot of unnecessary trouble, although Lu Chengkong and others are not afraid of these at all. Trouble. But since wearing a mask can solve so many unnecessary troubles, why not do it? And Lu Chengkong doesn't want people to know that he and others have the ability to resurrect people. After all, if people know, Garp will come over and let him. It's not okay to refuse to help resurrect his father, etc., and it's not okay to refuse. It's better not to let people know about these skills. I'm wronged, okay, Lu Chengkong thought, indignantly. Of course he didn't explain it. After all, these things are getting worse and worse. And more importantly, Khalifa and Hancock are not completely wrong. Because Lu Chengkong is thinking about when to extend the hand of Selang to the remaining 6 girls. The moon is the first to get the moon, and the fat water will not flow to the outsiders. Since it is his own pirate group, of course, it is best to be his own wife. Well, of course, this is Lu Chengkong's personal idea. Hancock, the other name of your sweet fruit is indeed called the soul fruit. I think you can petrify the other person's soul if you want, but this name has been lost for a long time, and the sweet fruit and the charm fruit are not the same. People who understand this fruit, and the soul fruit is different from other fruits. You have to develop it to an extremely advanced level before you can attack the soul, or release an invisible soul attack. Otherwise, this fruit ability can only petrify others for a lifetime. After reading this, I thought about your ability and your ability is getting weirder and weirder before you come to this conclusion. Nicole Robin said in a serious tone. Oh, it doesn't matter what kind of fruit it is, just what suits me. Boa Hancock was not surprised by this, because in her heart she always believed that her ability was no worse than anyone else's, as long as she was willing to go development. It is precisely because of this kind of persistence that Hancock can develop the sweet fruit to this point. Nico Robin is right. Now Hancock's fruit ability has completely reached the level of killing people invisible. Ability is simply a breeze. It's good for me. It seems that I didn't see you wrong back then. A sudden voice floated from a distance, and the voice had already arrived before the person arrived. I knew that if I came here, I would definitely see you. I think you can tell me your name now, right? Lu Chengkong was very calm, or it was only him, Hancock, Khalifa and others. Angelina Four Talents are so calm, because they all have the same idea. Just call me Sophie. That's right, a graceful, esoteric and mysterious figure suddenly appeared in everyone's sight. She was the woman Lu Chengkong ate her fruit ability back then, and now she has it's called Sophie. Huh, a look of surprise flashed across Lu Chengkong's eyes. This time, he finally fully saw this woman's appearance. It wasn't because she was beautiful. On the contrary, she was obviously far worse than Angelique, Hancock and Shirahoshi. Her own beauty is just on the same level as Khalifa. But the mysterious, dusty, and elegant temperament surrounding her made her, like Khalifa, who possessed a holy, bright and inviolable temperament, her charm and attractiveness were invisibly elevated by several levels. Even so, he couldn't let Lu Chengkong, because this woman actually looked exactly like a French female star he knew in his previous life, and even half of the names were the same, they were all called Sophie. The big brown eyes put the finishing touch on her pretty face. This blink of an eye can release the charm that makes the world fall for it. When he saw these comments before, he thought it was too exaggerated, but it was just right to judge the Sophie in front of him, in terms of temperament. The female star in the previous life couldn't compare to the Sophie in front of her. You've seen a woman who looks like me. Sophie opened her mouth gently, her voice was very pleasant, although she was asking questions, her tone was definitely incomparable. Yes, Lu Chengkong's heart moved. She had captured such a good emotional wave that he had hidden, and even guessed his own thoughts, which was not simple. Oh, the world is full of wonders, and there are many people with the same appearance, but none of them have the same temperament. Sophie was not surprised by this, and her tone was as calm as always, as if there was nothing other than her. The same can cause her mood swings. Long story short, do you remember what I said when I first met you? Since you ate my devil fruit and grew faster than I expected, you have to do one thing for me, Sophie said with a pair of charming eyes, looking at Lu Hekong. 336 The last 20 king. What's the matter? Lu Chengkong said secretly when the topic came to him, but on the surface he was extremely calm, and he said sympathetically. Sophie glanced at the person behind Lu Chengkong, waved her jade hand gently, and spit out a word, forbidden. If I'm not mistaken, no one but me can hear what the two of us said next. Lu Chengkong glanced at Sophie, but did not stop her from moving. Seeing Sophie at first sight he knew that maybe this woman was the most powerful person he faced in the world of One Piece, King of Pirates. Now his strength is not what it used to be, but when he sees Sophie again, there is no such feeling of seeing through the bottomless pit. Instead, there is a strong sense of oppression and crisis. Obviously, Lu Chengkong's current the strength can already roughly feel how strong Sophie is. It's not necessarily a good thing to know too much with the strength of these people. Sophie nodded, her eyes suddenly condensed, a trace of solemnity flashed on her face, and she said at a slow and fast speed, "Just now the crew has already told you the historical text recorded on this slate, so it will save a lot of unnecessary effort, and roughly tell you that all the 20 kings except me are dead. Unexpected things, but what I want to know is that they all died in your hands." Lu Chengkong was not too surprised, but asked indifferently. 9 died in my hands, and the rest died in the hands of devil fruits. Lu Chengkong was puzzled by Sophie's words, but he didn't say much and waited quietly for Sophie's answer. I remember that before the last battle, we replaced countless demons. Maybe this is fate. In the end, we found the most satisfying fruit ability. In that battle, I ate the mirror fruit. That's right, it's your current fruit ability. I rely on it. With the mirror fruit and the Emperor Haki, I defeated the other 17 people. In the end, there were 2 who used the fruit of destiny and the white tiger fruit, and they were tied with me, but unfortunately, they could not escape death in the end. Sophie replied. At that time, we couldn't keep our hands at all. The former brothers and sisters actually became undead enemies. When the battle was won, we had only 11 people left. At that time, we knew what regret was. 11 people were seriously injured, and when they were very weak, hiding behind the scenes can be said to be the person who induced the infighting of the 20 kings and finally came out. Sophie's tone suddenly became very cold, the murderous aura unreservedly released, and the surrounding temperature dropped rapidly. It was really a change of anger. Who is he? Gorose, 5 elders or? Lu Chengkong was really curious now, to know that it is definitely not mediocre or an idiot to build such a huge and powerful empire with 20 kings and 2. Every one of them should be a god, the second best, the smartest. It is impossible to be provoked infighting so easily. He has faced the Gorose, 5 elders before, and they should not be able to do it with their ability. The source of the devil fruit, the void demon. Sophie said through gritted teeth. He has the air of wanting to eat his flesh and drink his blood. Halo, it's getting more and more complicated. The 20 kings can still make sense. After all, these are just a few words in the original book. They exist, and the meaning of D is clearly understood. Why is there another void demon? Fuck it, but this also explains what the devil is like. Lu Chengkong rubbed his forehead, only to feel that his head was not enough. Thinking about it, it was good to be able to calm down after hearing so many shocking ancient secrets in one day. The present demons are actually an ability of the Void Great Demon, and among them, his most powerful are the top 10 Logia, 5 Paramesha and Zone recorded on the slate, which are 20 kinds of abilities. He is not a creature of this world, but comes from the moon. Outside space. I still remember when he said that he came to this world to rule the world, but unfortunately he was very unlucky and landed in the sea. As the source of the devil fruit, he was of course afraid of falling into the sea, and the water droplets in his hand were also unfortunate. If it falls into the sea, the waterproof bead is the bead you are wearing now. In order to save himself, he could only disband all the devil fruit abilities in his body, and these abilities were transformed into various devil fruits and distributed to every corner of the world, and he also survived, but it was a pity that he disbanded these devil fruits. It is also a serious injury to vitality, and it will take a long time to repair. At that time, our 20 kings had just risen, defeated countless enemies and established a country called D later. Some people ate these fruits with peculiar abilities, but they also had relatively big side effects, so we named them devil fruits. Sophie said while recalling. Then the next thing is that your strength is too strong, plus Haki who has the ability to resist the devil fruit, and is also the Emperor's color Haki, plus you have a huge country as the backing. The strong men are like clouds, and the void the big devil should not be able to return to its heyday in a short time, so it can't face you at all. Lu Chengkong conjectured. No, if it's just like this, the void demon doesn't need to count on our 20 kings. Sophie shook her head and motioned Lu Chengkong to be quiet and listen to her slowly. Devil fruit is a part of the void demon's body, even if after being eaten by others, it can be easily recycled by him when facing him. At that time, we didn't know the existence of the Void Great Demon at all. It's just that after we learned about the existence and side effects of devil fruits, after some discussions, we felt that these are external things. We should exercise ourselves without relying on these devil fruits. This is the right way, so we prohibit everyone in the country from eating devil fruits. Although the Void Demon is hiding on the side to recuperate, he has a very good understanding of everything in the outside world. He knows that our 20 kings are definitely a stumbling block for him to rule the world, and he is even more irritable after he knows that we are forbidden to eat devil fruits. Anyone who eats devil fruits will obey him and become his most loyal lackey as long as the great demon of the void thinks. At that time, he was already weak. Drop the devil fruit, then he can rule the world without much effort. So, he changed his face, mixed into D, and became one of our subordinates. He encouraged the most competitive, most grumpy, and most impulsive people among the 20 kings to go to them to fight and decide the winner. At that time, although we also wanted to decide the winner and loser, the relationship was very deep after all, so we mainly focused on learning from each other, so the idea of the void demon could only fail. 337 Sealed Demon. Then he should continue to encourage the grumpy and impulsive 25, while secretly provoking disputes on the continents you each manage. Although you are forbidden to eat devil fruits, But after all, a small number of people have already eaten them, and you don't know the origin of devil fruits, so those people are controlled by the void demon and become his tools to provoke wars. I said right. Lu Chengkong thought for a while and said, that's right, no matter how smart and wise people are, they will succeed in the end when faced with someone who specializes in such calculations, and we don't know that he exists. Angelina's father, and my mother didn't want to go to war and kept talking about other people. It's a pity that people from 20 continents actually hated each other more and more. Evolved into the historical text as recorded. Sophie nodded, and after a short period of time, Sophie had recovered to be as indifferent as water at the beginning, and the ancient well did not waver. Then you didn't eat the devil fruit in the end. As long as the void demon controls you, there is no need to let you be beaten to death. Lu Chengkong asked the last question in his heart. It's very simple, because the 20 kings can't be controlled. The corner of Sophie's mouth twitched, and Lu Chengkong was stunned by Vivi when she saw this smile. It was the first time he saw Sophie smile, and she smiled so beautifully. Even Lu Chengkong, who was used to seeing all kinds of beautiful women, was still attracted by this smile. Why, but Lu Chengkong was Lu Chengkong after all, and he wasn't someone who couldn't walk when he saw a beautiful woman, and he quickly came to his senses. Remember what's written on the slate. We can replace the devil fruit we eat, and will we still be controlled by the devil fruit ability in our body? We become stronger after eating devil fruit, and we are not controlled by the void demon. Of course, it will become the confidant and enemy of the void demon. At that time, this stupid devil was still happy that we could become his subordinates after eating the devil fruit, but found out that we were out of control, and the opponent was stronger and more powerful. In addition to being irritable, he wanted to get rid of us quickly. Sophie said sarcastically. Okay, I fully understand this matter. After you decide the winner and loser, although 11 survived, but all of them were seriously injured and consumed too much, so he dared to come out and get rid of you, so in the end you were the only one left. Lu Chengkong took a breath and sorted out the content before asking. That guy lost so many devil fruits, although some of them were recovered during the final battle, but the top 10 Logia, the 5 zones and Paramesha, the most powerful essences, are all in the hands of our 20 kings, and his strength can be as strong as no matter where we go, we are just the same level as us who ate devil fruits. Although we were all seriously injured, but that guy was too complacent. In order to make us understand, the ghost told us all these things, but we didn't know that the constitution of our 20 kings was different from the Ivy League, and the recovery ability was very strong. Although it has been a short time, it has recovered a lot, so the 11 people who survived will burn with each other, and I would have died, but Angelina's mother pushed me away, so I got lucky. When Sophie said this, there was a flash of sadness in her eyes, and the eyes that could make the world fall down looked at Angelina on the side with loving eyes. It turns out that at that time, in addition to the Void Great Demon, there should be Gorose, 5 elders who ate the devil fruits, who were controlled, so you couldn't escape at all, so in the end you chose to burn all the jade and stone, and Gorose after the Void Great Demon died. 5 elders have a big appetite for power. And seeing that 19 of your 20 kings died, and you were seriously injured, I wanted to kill you to replace them, but I looked down on them. You killed a lot of people, or you escaped, and Gorose, 5 the elders and others are concerned that you will seek revenge after you recover, so you dare not do anything to kill Tenryubito. Lu Chengkong completely understood. No wonder Sophie looked so strange when she looked at Angelina. There is right or wrong, the void demon is not dead, but his injury has not fully recovered, and the devil fruit has not been recovered, and our jade and stones are burned, which is even more injured, but he still did not die in the end, just it was only sealed in the deepest part of Laugh Tale by us. For Gorose, 5 elders, although they didn't dare to do anything blatantly, they lost our leadership, and Wakaxing and others deliberately made Tenryubito degenerate. Now Tenryubito is just some garbage, and the real descendants of the 20 kings are only Angelina is the only one left, and it doesn't matter if those lousy old men kill Tenryubito, anyway, Gorose, 5 elders will die sooner or later. Sophie shook her head and corrected Lu Chengkong's mistakes. Then why didn't you kill the Gorosei, 5 elders, and keep them alive? Since you're so resilient and you're pushed away by Angelina's mother in the end, it shouldn't take long for you to recover. Ah, Lu Chengkong asked incomprehensibly. It's very simple. After all, the living humans are descendants of the people of Continent D, because our battle has been affected by the influence of the Void Great Demon and has suffered heavy casualties. Gorosei, 5 elders are needed to clean up the mess. If you kill them, isn't it messier? At that time, I was so sad that I didn't even want to be the 20 king, and the demon in the void didn't die, so I had to stay to guard his seal, otherwise the great void demon would break out soon, so this world needs people like the Gorosei, 5 elders to run it. It is because of us that the people of Country D have suffered a lot. I don't want to and have no time to manage them. They must be managed by someone. There are many reasons for the Gorosei, 5 elders to survive. Otherwise, I think my strength is even at that time. Even badly wounded can kill a few of them. Sophie clearly despises the Gorosei, 5 elders, and brings a deep disdain every time she speaks of them. Later I worried that this demon would break out one day, so I secretly selected a lot of talented seed players and let them grow, and Gorosei, 5 elders are their stepping stones. Only those who have the ability to kill Gorosei, only people with the strength of the 5 elders can help me. But unfortunately, although there are many people who have grown beyond the level of the 4 emperors over the years, they still failed to kill the Gorosei, 5 elders until you appeared. 338 Angelina's Secret. The speed of your growth surprised me, and at that time I went to Angelina to see if she broke out. What I didn't expect was that Angelina broke out so many years ahead of schedule. The business is beyond my imagination, and hearing your words and your growth really makes me very satisfied. I will give it a try to see if you can comprehend what you have been apart from our 20 kings for so many years. No one has ever realized Emperor Haki. Now it seems that I made the right decision at that time. That little girl already has the Emperor color Haki, and your Haki is not the Emperor color, but it is very strange, completely the color of the Emperor is one level. Quote. Sophie looked at Lu Chengkong with satisfaction as she spoke, and at the same time was very happy that she did not choose to kill Lu Chengkong in order to find the mirror fruit again. My own vision is still so good, and this guy didn't let me down. I had a unique feeling when I saw him at that time, and now it really didn't let me down. Is Dana also one of the people you chose? Also, since you didn't die, and the mirror fruit used to be your fruit ability, then why was I able to eat the mirror fruit at that time? Lu Chengkong found out that he was on his own today. One of the most asked questions of my life. Yes, otherwise how can she get the fruit of life? But unfortunately she has an unopened heart knot, otherwise her strength will definitely rise to a higher level. It seems to have been opened now. As for why the mirror fruit will come, it's easy to get into your hands. Because I have replaced countless devil fruits over the past 800 years. I have eaten all of the top 10 Logias, the 5 largest parameshes in zone, and I have developed the power of these fruits to the extreme. I am worried that one day the void demon will break out. We'll find these powerful devil fruits, so I must fully understand the power of these 20 most powerful fruits, and even if he uses these powers to deal with me, I will know the back of my hand to deal with it. After a lot of choices, I plan to choose one of the 3 fruits of fate, mirror image, and white tiger as my own. At that time, I have found these 3 fruits again, but what I didn't expect is that you are a kid. Eat my mirror fruit, so I can only choose one from the white tiger and destiny. In the end I choose destiny. What more questions to ask, problem children? Sophie blinked at Lu Chengkong, revealing the charm of surprise. No more. Lu Chengkong shook his head. Although he could not wait to push this beauty who grew up exactly like Sophie Marceau, the female star of Earth, but it was precisely because of her face that Lu Chengkong thought of the Earth, so he doesn't want to mess around. Even if he wants to overthrow it, he still needs your favor. Originally, I also wanted to bury these powerful devil fruits I collected, but the void demon has an exploration ability for devil fruits, and the more powerful devil fruits are. So if he breaks the seal and recovers completely from the injury, I can't resist it, and it's even more troublesome when he finds this pile of devil fruits. So I kept the top 3 of them, hoping that a few of them will grow to my satisfaction before he breaks the seal, and I will leave these fruit abilities to them. Of course, one is for Angelina. Sophie glared at Lu Chengkong. Obviously she saw through Lu Chengkong's thoughts, but she may have been lonely for so many years, and all her former brothers, sisters and friends have died. Lu Chengkong gave her a very unique feeling, and he has grown to the point where he is satisfied, and he has eaten his own fruit ability. In addition, he has just said the things that have been buried in his heart for a long time, and he completely regards Lu Chengkong as someone who can talk about it. The object, plus Angelina's reasons, she didn't care about Lu Chengkong's dirty mind. There are too few people who can make her look at her differently or talk on an equal footing. Over the years, there has been no one except Angelina, a special person. Now there are two, one is Lu Chengkong and the other is Hancock. As for Khalifa, because she hasn't understood hockey yet, so she can't deal with the Void Demon. If you face the Void Demon, you will even be controlled because Khalifa ate the devil fruit. The reason why the 20 kings cannot be controlled is because each of them has the emperor-colored hockey antibody, which can completely suppress the body. The devil fruit will completely use the devil fruit and will not be controlled by the Void Demon. So it's not that Sophie looks down on Khalifa. On the contrary, Khalifa can grow to this point with the aptitude that is not a king. Sophie is quite admired and surprised. It's just because Khalifa has not awakened to understand the reason of the emperor's color, so Sophie did not include her in the ranks of Lu Chengkong and others, but Sophie didn't look down or disdain Khalifa at all. But Angelina has not awakened to the emperor's color. She eats nothing but fruit. Even if it is not comparable to the white tiger and mirror image, fate is still very powerful. Lu Chengkong secretly glanced at Angelina, and a trace of worry flashed in the depths of his eyes. Lu Chengkong and others have completely accepted Angelina, who is sometimes innocent like a baby, sometimes scary and wild like a devil. Beautiful beauty, of course he didn't want Angelina to be in trouble. However, it is said that only the beautiful Angelina on the whole ship can make Lu Chengkong have no desire for her. Some of them are just Chunchan's love and love. Of course, if Angelina doesn't mind, Lu Chengkong certainly doesn't mind another one. Wife. Although he doesn't have that kind of greedy desire for Angelina, of course he is eager to have such a catwoman with such a unique personality and full of wildness and hotness. It's a lie to have no idea, but if Angelina doesn't want it in that case, Lu Chengkong would definitely not mess around. Because Angelina's pair of watery eyes that were clearer than Shirahoshi's eyes swept over, Lu Chengkong was really overwhelmed. You still need to be careful. Do you think I've been in vain for the past 800 years? And you really think Angelina's mother is a vegetarian? Look at Angelina's ears and tail. Su Fei lost her eyes in a charming manner. Lu Chengkong was stunned for a moment when he heard the words, and an idea appeared in an instant. It seems that you have thought, Angelina is not a catwoman, she herself is the same as a normal girl. As for why there are these kitten-like ears and tails, it is because her mother ate the white tiger fruit. Quote. When Angelina was just conceived in her mother's belly, her mother used her life to return Angelina who was still in her belly. Angelina, who has been blessed by her profession, is even more incredible, inheriting some of the characteristics when she transformed into a white tiger, but now it looks only 5 points similar to the white tiger. 339 last trimester. When Angelina was just conceived in her mother's womb, her mother used her life to return Angelina in her womb to have a clear understanding of all aspects, and at the same time passed all the benefits that could be given to her to Angelina. Lena, let Angelina, who was already blessed by nature, even more incredible, inherited some of the characteristics of when she transformed into a white tiger. It's just that now it looks only 5 points similar to the white tiger. As long as Angelina eats the white tiger fruit, the white tiger fruit will definitely be used to a terrible level. It can be said that there is no one in the world who is more suitable for the white tiger fruit than Angelina. Sophie talked eloquently, and the highlights in her eyes became more and more charming. Who made her a descendant of the 20 kings? She is blessed with a single-footed soul plate. Damn, why don't I have this treatment as a transmigrator? I can change the devil fruit infinitely. I can change it whenever I want, and I am the same. I just brought a demon blood here. It's really shameful to be a transmigrator to do what I am. Lu Chengkong thought very unhappily. Also, you have to know that Angelina has the qualifications of a king, and her mother always hopes that Angelina can pass through her, but she always feels the emperor's color, as long as she eats the white tiger fruit. Then after opening the memory her mother left her, she can have the emperor color within a month. Sophie seems to be saying something that is an understatement. This is the emperor's color. Only 22 people have owned it in more than 900 years. Now 19 have died, and now only Sophie is left. Hancock still has Angelina, who is about to have, but now listening to Sophie's tone, it seems to be very easy to have. Why is the gap between people so big? Sure enough, having a good background and a mother is better than anything else. Lu Chengkong was even more depressed. The benefits brought by himself as a traveler were not comparable to others. The natural benefits are so far off. If the old man on earth who sent Lu Chengkong over knows that this kid is thinking now, he will definitely vomit blood. It seems that Lu Chengkong can succeed to this point. Every time he defeats an enemy stronger than himself, the demon bloodline plays an irreplaceable role. If nothing else, just the demon transformation, the terrifying resilience and physical fitness plus the demon emperor haki, any release here will horrify countless people, and the typical example is that people are not enough to swallow elephants. Okay, I have explained everything that needs to be explained. The matter has been exposed to the worst point. I have guarded the void demon for 800 years. I didn't expect him to finally come out. He disbanded all the demons in his body. Her injuries have recovered, and I don't know how strong she is now, and there are still 3 months left. If you have anything to explain, go now. After Sophie finished speaking, she waved her hand, lifted the restraint, and walked towards Angelina step by step, but when she was halfway through, she seemed to have thought of something and turned around and said to Lu Chengkong, although the time may be shorter, since those who can awaken the emperor's color are all people who are extremely talented and have excellent luck. In the past 3 months, I will try my best to teach Hancock how to maximize the emperor's color. How much I can learn depends on her. As for the blonde woman named Khalifa, come with her. Her perseverance, even I can't help but say a word. It's a pity that you are not the chosen person, and you don't have a good background, otherwise you can awaken the emperor's color, but don't despair, you still have this opportunity, everything depends on your own creation. Lu Chengkong watched Sophie take Angelina, Khalifa, and Hancock away without stopping them. He didn't expect things to get so bad. After the void demon came out, it really made him very depressed, and there was no end to it, but he also knew that it was useful to lose his temper at this time. There were only 3 months left. Hey, get ready. Lu Chengkong took a deep breath, forced his head to calm down, and maintained that he used life return to perfectly control his brain to completely calm down, analyzing what he was going to do. Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Shanks, Hawkeye, Bulena, Margaret, Garp, come with me, the rest stay here. Hearing Lu Chengkong's words, and seeing Lu Chengkong's extremely unsightly face, Whitebeard and the others also expected that something unexpected might happen, so they nodded and followed Lu Chengkong to the side. What happened to make this man look like this is really rare. Zorro is not Luffy's single cell, and his intuition tells him that something terrifying might be about to happen. Maybe something really happened. Laugh Tale is full of secrets. Maybe the woman named Sophie said something just now. Let's be prepared. The Straw Hats were rescued from a desperate situation. This head is really not a vegetarian. On the other side, Lu Chengkong has already selected the most important things from what Sophie said just now and told the 2 people in front of them. As for why only these 7 people were selected, it is very simple. Except for Whitebeard, the other 6 people are not capable people. The words of the person must have the color of the emperor, otherwise participating in the battle will only become a burden. As for Whitebeard's fruit ability, he has long thought of a solution. It's been an eventful time, wave after wave, what's not to worry about? Whitebeard's brows were already wrinkled into a word, his face was terrible, and the others were not much better. Okay, don't talk nonsense, There are still 3 months. If you don't want to die, you can only do everything you can to improve your strength. Even if there will be any sequelae, you can't control it. Decide quickly. You are planning to join this game fight, or stand aside and wait to die. Lu Chengkong also had a headache, rubbing his temples and urging. What else can I do? It's not my character to stand on the side. It's worth fighting against such a strong demon, even if I die. Don't talk about this guy Hawkeye, maybe this time is really suffocating. He is too strong, he can't intervene at all, and too weak is boring. But I don't have an emperor-colored hockey, and I'm a power user. How to solve this? Whitebeard obviously didn't want to stand aside and watch. Have you forgotten Kizaru? As long as you don't resist, I will let Angelina turn your fruit ability into nothingness. Lu Chengkong said angrily. The latter nodded in agreement. As long as the shock he can't control so much about the fruit of the shock. What is the fruit ability to do when his life is gone? And he is very interested in this big demon of the void. 340 push 5 girls. Also, Rayleigh, Garp, you two are old after all. I will let Khalifa and Dana restore you to the peak moment. Cherish these 3 months, this may be our last battle. Lu Chengkong after he finished speaking heavily, he lightly tapped his toes, turning into an afterimage and disappearing from the sight of Whitebeard and the others. What do you think this kid is going to do? This was the first time Garp saw Lu Chengkong's serious expression. At the same time, seeing the atmosphere in such a solemn manner, he couldn't help but open his mouth to make fun of everyone and make the atmosphere more lively. Idiot, you, of course, went to conquer the last few beauties. Did you find that there are still a few girls in his boat who are fledglings? Maybe it's the black people who are close to the ink. They have been on a boat with Kizaru and Sengoku for a while, making Rayleigh, who was a bit lewd, become very lewd. Seeing his face, Juliana was the first one who couldn't bear it. Live a knife and stab in the past. The 3-month period is not too short or not too long. Several things happened one after another in these 3 months. The first is of course that Rayleigh and Garp have returned to their peaks one after another. Second, the strength of several of them, including Gulena and Margaret, that could not be improved in a short period of time, has been soaring at an alarming rate. Of course, if things are abnormal, they will be demons, and their strength can be improved. It was obviously an astonishing price to pay so quickly. As for the third event, it was about to happen. Ah, it hurts. Don't be too big. A tender scream of pain suddenly came from the captain's room. The whole body of men and women are entangled with each other, obviously lingering, and this woman is full of blonde hair, but she looks very gentle and soft, and her delicate face is a bit of a dick, not only does not let her beauty suffer influence, but has a different kind of charm. This person is Dana's sister, Portgas de Rouge. Because there are only 3 months left, Lu Chengkong can't guarantee that he will survive. Although he has only lived for more than 200 years in this life, it is not long, but he has enjoyed everything: supreme power, a large group of natural talent, national beauty, but without exception, he deeply loves his wife. Fame, power, money, beauty, and status are the most peak existences, but it is precisely because of this that he does not want to let his life have any regrets. So Lu Chengkong, who was originally going to be conquered and toppled slowly, has done everything he can in the past 3 months. If he is kidnapped and deceived in the end, he will get on the bus first. If he can survive safely, he will make up the ticket. Of course, it was Bocaz de Rouge who was forcibly toppled. Sister, I really didn't expect that after your resurrection, your hymen has recovered. Dana, who was on the side, saw that her most beloved sister was forcibly pushed down by Lu Chengkong. Instead, he stood in the Emperor Yi and admired this live erotic palace with great interest, and was even more cranky in his heart. HMPH, it's absurd. Kikyo said in a cold voice, but if you pay attention, you can still see a hint of shyness, anger, and a hint of hidden deep expectation and curiosity from the depths of her eyes. In addition to Dana, Kikyo, and Rouge, there are 2 other people here, namely Margaret and Orbia. As for Angelina, she is still studying at Sophie with Khalifa and Hancock, but I believe should be back tomorrow. Margaret and Orbia were even more embarrassed, but their faces were flushed. Obviously, the scene in front of them was too shocking for the two of them, although they could not wait to find a hole drilled in, but a trace of curiosity in their hearts made the two of them look at it secretly. Insolent, I think if it weren't for the last 3 months left, he would definitely plan to destroy you one by one. I didn't expect me to be one of his targets. I should be happy or depressed. Calm, maybe she had expected such a day. It may also be that she is not bound by everything. She may have a relationship with Lu Changkong for a long time because of her unrestrained temperament. It may also be because of gratitude. There are too many and it is very complicated. She couldn't figure out what was going on in her heart. Don't like him, but why I don't have much resistance in my heart. I like him, but why do I feel that it is always a little bit worse? Is it a lack of qualitative change of feelings? In fact, Dana is right. No matter how much she has experienced and how much she knows, but she is a first-time brother in love after all. She also only stayed at the level of mutual appreciation and affection for Lu Changkong. If it was normal, she would definitely refuse, but thinking that she was the only one left, she couldn't be hard-hearted, but what she didn't know was because of the pressure of external forces she had a crush on Lu Changkong. Feelings are soaring at an astonishing speed. Generally speaking, women who encounter this kind of situation will either walk away and become strangers from now on, or their feelings will heat up rapidly. Obviously Lu Changkong is very lucky, because Dana belongs to the latter. Who cares? If he hadn't restrained me, I would have given him an arrow. Kikyo snorted coldly and said disdainfully, but it's a pity that Dana ignored her. No matter what she said, the end would be the same. Hearing her sister's pain-like and comfortable moaning constantly coming from her ears, Dana, who had always been very indifferent to it and seemed to have heard nothing, was actually interested. I can't do it anymore. Let me go. Ah, it's coming again. Rouge was very embarrassed and angry from the beginning, but in the end he couldn't help it. She and her body had betrayed her, and now Lu Changkong suddenly, she pushed her hard again, and she, who was already dying, welcomed Gao Chao again, but unfortunately her constitution was no longer able to support her. This time, she passed out with Gao Chao. Hey, it's your turn. Lu Changkong called Dana beside him without saying a word, but Dana didn't resist. Instead, he rode on Lu Changkong's body and threw out a sentence that made Lu Changkong lustful. I don't know what love is, and I don't know if I'm in love with you, but I don't have much resistance to you in my heart. Time is running out, and maybe I'll die in the past 3 months, so I should do it earlier. Enjoy, conquer me, since there is no way to make me fall in love with you in a short time, then you make my body fall in love with you. Hurry up, give it to me, don't suck so hard, I am also your master. Master's milk can't be sucked indiscriminately. In the face of Beauty's provocation, Lu Changkong of course gave her the most powerful attack. The big stick and dragon greeted her well. Dana is really pitiful. She is usually a cook, and now she is a cook feeding when she is in bed. Of course, the most stubborn Kikyo in the end, as well as the shy Orbia, and the 2 Margaret girls could not escape the fate of being beaten by a big stick. This night Lu Changkong was more than 7 times a night, it was more than 10 or 20 times. All have